Hello, everybody. Here I am down here. How are you? Thought I'd show you my Cheshire Cat, the latest sculpture available to you right now. If you go to my website, TerriHarDin.com, click on online store, and just check him out. Okay, he is the latest in my impressions line. Good morning, happy Friday. Welcome to Ask Me Anything Fridays. My name is Terri Hardin, Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer. I've done Ghostbusters, Men in Black, all kinds of stuff. In fact, my dear friend Joshua Schaefer, who is an amazing writer and and I would say a great historian of all things Disney, decided to write down almost everything he could on my life. And Joshua, if you're watching and you're listening, I have to give you a heads up. My husband says you missed a couple things. Oh, really? 20 pages plus long. Of course, when you look at this life of mine, it's wild and crazy. How did it happen? I don't know. Bullied as a kid because I'm half black, half white. That was the reason the bully went after me. My hair stuck out like a dandelion and he thought easy target. And I know that most of you probably were bullied as well, because it's usually the bully that's having the problem. He's just looking for something to kick, and that's what the real challenge is about characters like that. But again, as I said, Terri Hardin, Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer, all kinds of things that I've done. Feel free to subscribe to this channel because I am a truth teller. So you can ask me just about anything and I will tell you the absolute truth. I also run a wonderful page called Terry's Tribe on Patreon, and I'm going to pop that up so you can be a part of it if you wish. For as little as $5 a month, $60 a year, your voice can be heard and you can chat with me live every Wednesday on Zoom. And it's really a lot of fun. It's something that I personally look forward to. So it's not necessarily if it's something you look forward to. I hope it is, but you can come and we can actually have a conversation. It lasts 1 to 2 hours. You don't have to stay for the whole thing. If you're working at that time, you can listen to it like a podcast, but it's a lot of fun and it's what I look forward to. I also broadcast in the little slot just before I come on here. So before I come here to do the broadcast live every Monday and every Friday, I speak with the tribe. So if you want to be part of the tribe, go over, check it out. This is where you go, patreon.com/Terri Hardin. Check it out and see if it's for you. There's another level, the $10 level, of which I had been neglecting, truth be told. And what did I say? I'm a truth teller. But if you do the $10 a month, this starting today, I'm going to start dropping 2 behind the scenes videos just for you. 2 times a month. I'll do it for a couple months. And then I'm probably going to do once a month. Because the thing is I want to guarantee you once a month for a behind the scenes video. And then if I have the time, I'll put more in, but I don't want to I don't want to over promise, under deliver. I want to under promise and over deliver. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Anyway, in the Ask Me Anything, feel free to ask me anything. Today I thought, I was having a challenge finding something to talk about because there were a few things I really wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about, congratulations to Ernie Hudson. One of the movies I did was Ghostbusters, and Ernie was Winston Zeddemore, and he's a real good buddy of mine. And one of the challenges he had was that he was not on the poster of the original film, and they kind of kept him in the wings. And that makes people sad, and it made Ernie sad. But if you get a chance to see the article where Ernie speaks out about it, because now he's been acknowledged as the 4th Ghostbuster officially. I mean, we all knew it, right? But he talks about his feelings during that time and why maybe playing certain cards towards certain people based on your color may not be the best idea. And I thought he handled it very well. And so if you get a chance to look at that, please do. Ernie is a lovely guy, an amazing person, and it's well worth it. So patreon.com if you want to be part of the tribe. Subscribe here if you don't want to be part of the tribe. It's as little as $5 a month. So don't drink that Starbucks coffee. And hey, Starbucks is about to raise their prices, so every month I'm a lot more affordable than even a cup of Starbucks coffee. So please come and join us. It's a great place where we get together, and your voice can be part of a group of people who are supporting each other. Artist, remember, is someone who is passionate about what they do. It doesn't necessarily mean a sculptor or a painter. It means you're passionate about what you do. That can be a huge amount of stuff, right? Right. I mean, I think there are artists in every profession. You find the guy who's got it just as a job and the person who finds it part of their DNA. Therefore, they are an artist. Okay. So, doesn't matter what you do. I remember when I was in-house as an Imagineer at the Disney Studios, I met a guy who could use one of those floor polishers, the big one with the big brush goes around like this. And he was a true artist. He could really polish a floor. I know if I grabbed a hold of that machine, I would have drilled to China. So it's an art. Okay. So if you're out there thinking I'm not an artist, let's say, for example, you're a bookkeeper. Bookkeepers are hot right now because it's tax time. And CPAs. If you're not that person, if you're not an artist who you're someone who does this, but you love it, you love everything numbers, everything math, which is incomprehensible to me, but you're out there, you guys. I know I have one. And this is your thing. You are painting and you are an artist with numbers, calculations, et cetera, et cetera. A lot like Einstein, actually, an artist, right? So, please don't think of yourself as a non-artist if you're not painting or drawing or whatever. It's all of the above. And that is only if you're passionate about it. If you're just marking time as a job, and we've all had a teacher like that, right? That's not an artist. But the teacher who goes that extra mile to make teaching good for you because it's their DNA, it's their passion is to help you to learn, that's an artist too. So please come. You're welcome to be part of the tribe. We all help each other, support each other, chat all things. Today, we were talking about sizes in stores and weight. Because a lot of times if you are having trouble gaining weight or having trouble losing weight or whatever, and you go into a store, you're body shamed when the thing doesn't fit, right? And sometimes it's just because these people are lame about how they do their sizes. So that became a big conversation today on the Patreon page. So that's what I'm talking about. We talk about we talk about all kinds of things that are on our mind. And I don't know why that popped up. Yes, I do. It's because of my dear friend Savannah. And Savannah is getting married. And I said the last time I remembered her is when she was about 7. So you know how when you're older, it stays in your head. They stay 7-year-olds, and the next time you go married, I think that's when the age thing starts to, So anyway, Ask Me Anything Fridays. Go over there, give us a chat. But let's talk about what was in the thumbnail today. I'm going to take this off now. There you go. I guess I should point out, like I did before, that you can go to here, TerriHarDin.com, to get this little fella if you like. He's right on the front page. You can go and see his price point. He's $250. He's limited to 50. All hand. They were sculpted, hand cast, hand painted. I designed a box for him and everything, the Cheshire Cat. He is one of my impressions line. And what else can I tell you about him? Oh, he's only 50. There's only 50 of this little cat. So you want to go to TerriHarDin.com and click on online store. That'll take you right to the store and you can get yours. Over 20 have been sold already. So just to let you know, they're out there, not to twist your arm, just to let you know they are out there. So go get them, Tiger, if that's what you want. There you go. Okay. Probably should have done a Tigger, I was thinking, because of the Year of the Tiger. But the Cheshire Cat, so many people have been waiting for the Cheshire Cat that finally they got him. And they're like, oh, it's about time, lady. It wasn't as long a wait as for the Hitchhiking Ghosts, which I do have a couple of sets of those left. So if you're someone who's curious about those. Now, the Blacklight Ghosts, I have quite a few left because I haven't really been talking about those. But the but the glowing ghosts, I have only 2 sets left, and then the 50 sets are completely sold out. So again, you can go to TerriHarden.com, click on online store, and learn all about those things that I talked about. Okay, commercial over. So I was having trouble thinking, about what to talk about today, because there was so much. Like I said, Ernie Hudson, which I thought about talking about, but I thought I could do that. And then I saw that the Wish, when you wish upon a star, that the Disney Wish has again been postponed, pushed back. The Maiden Voyage is now in July. I think they said July 22nd, 21st, or 22nd. They're going to launch this beautiful vessel that's being made in Germany. And like everything else, COVID is the culprit. COVID is the culprit because they don't have enough manpower. COVID is the culprit because they can't get metal they need. They can't get items they need to create this beautiful ship. So, isn't it nice that they are going to do it right, not do it hastily? Even though I know you guys are all eager to see this Disney Wish and to be a part of it, this is a challenge. And they're also talking about the cruise having, they're having trouble populating the cruise. But what I ask is, would you cruise now? And as luck would have it, I was thinking about this last night, and then on the tribe, one of the tribe members said they're going on a cruise later this month. So for me, a cruise is just too confining right now with COVID. I know the cruise ships are doing everything they can to keep you safe, and I'm sure they're going to do fine. But my husband is like, no, don't, please don't. Before the pandemic, I was traveling on flying all over the world. Now, after the pandemic and things opening up, my husband is very concerned about me doing too many live events face to face, as he fears it could be dangerous for not only myself but for him. Now, I've been vaccinated and I've had my booster, but as we know, the Omicron gets around that, doesn't it? So, when you are in a relationship or you have family that is concerned about you, it's really good that you give a listen. Okay. Don't just ignore what they say, but kind of consider them, especially if they're your husband, and you love your husband or your wife or whatever. Even if your dog stands in front of the door and says, I don't think you should go out because COVID's out there, just give it a little consideration. Consider that you wear the proper mask and give the proper social distancing and so on. So I know this beautiful, extremely amazing ship is delayed, but I think this is a good thing. Okay. By then, let's say COVID will be kicked to the curb. I say it every day. COVID kicked to the curb. COVID kicked to the curb. Even though there are areas that make us feel like COVID is really hanging on for dear life and fighting us, I keep speaking that in the mirror every day. COVID kicked to the curb. So I hope you'll join me in that. And if you are going on a cruise, be safe, be careful, and just realize that you can only get so far on a boat. And that's why my husband is concerned and stuff. So that's why I posted the ship today, because I'm curious. You can let me know, would you cruise and what would you do to stay safe? Because come on, the staterooms are lovely, but unless you have a mega suite, even if you have a mega suite, but unless you have a mega suite, you don't want to be in your room all day, right? I mean, even if you know what I mean? And I really feel, I've often said this to Disney, but I really feel that what would really help you as a collector, if you love cruising, and so many of you do love cruising, that they should take each cruise ship and theme it with product. Because I said I would love to sculpt and put specialized things on the cruise ship. When I go on these cruise ships as a guest artist, and I've never been on the big boats, but I've been on the little ones like the Magic and the Wonder, and I love them a lot. The intimacy of those ships that Disney has. I've done an Alaskan cruise, Panama Canal cruise twice. I've done that, and they've been wonderful as a guest artist. Disney doesn't necessarily pay you an extra fee if you're one of those people that they do. Yay for you! But for me, they give me the cruise, they give me a room, they take care of my meals, and then I do 2 shows. And when I was on the inaugural cruise through the Panama Canal in '05, yes, '05, it was great because I did 2 little intimate talks with people. They were wonderful. I had a lovely time, met some wonderful people, and really enjoyed the cruise. But you can only get so far on a boat, So if people are angry, there's a challenge. And if you ever want to, you can ask me questions about that because it was the inaugural Disney Magic. I think I was on. We weren't on the Wonder. We were on the Magic, and then I was on the Wonder through Alaska. But they're wonderful cruises and they're lovely. But you just got to figure out how you're going to be safe in a place where it can get very, very crowded on a cruise. I would imagine going now, though, it's a lot less people, so you got more room to have the boat to your to yourself, and so that could be cool. But when I saw this story swing through, it made me think of, would you cruise right now? Is this something you would do? Me, no, I would not do it. My husband is worried enough about me going to things like MouseCon, which I did last weekend. So he just wants me to not fly for a while and not put myself in tight spaces for a while because COVID is still really strong out there. And of course, we don't want to get it, right? Okay, so there's my statement on that. Let's go over to your comments and let's see what kind of questions. Ask me anything means just that. You can ask me about my background as a child, what it's like to be bullied, how'd I get into puppets? I've been a Henson puppeteer since 1989. What was it like to do Ghostbusters, Men in Black, Indian in the Cupboard? I did Indian in the Cupboard with Frank Oz. A dear friend of mine, even though we haven't talked in a long time, he knows who I am. So I worked with him very closely on that film, and it was great, even though it was about this long. And you can talk about anything, how to be an Imagineer, what residuals are like, or royalties, as many people call them. You can talk to me about writing a book, anything, okay? Anything. Why is my hair this way? What's with that jacket? Isn't this jacket cool? I love this jacket. I can't tell you what's with this jacket, but more later. Let's go to you because you are the stars of this gathering. And yeah. Hello, Jacob. Welcome. Hello. Oh my goodness. Hello, Stan. Wow, great to see you. How did you find me? Howdy, neighbor. Jacob says, I was recently watching the Country Bears on Disney Plus and on his iPad on the way to and back from a trip from Tennessee. And dun, 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 Jacob, do you think Jacob's a writer? Because look at that cliffhanger. What is the question? I know it's coming. It's coming. Made it over to AMA. Steven, so glad you're here. Okay. I remember you talking about you invited Disney collectors and fans to be extras in the film for the movie. I was wondering, are they the ones in the tie-dye shirts? Many of them are. So here's how it works. This is a great question, Jacob. And I don't know if I spoke to you guys. We talk about stuff like this in the tribe, and sometimes I get a little mixed up like watercolors. So bear with me. No, it's not terrible. It's got to be Friday if I'm going to be this bad, right? But anyway, we have extras whenever a film does crowd scenes or whatever. They use a lot of people. And you can sign up to be an extra at things like Central Casting is a great place to sign up and get your picture taken. Another one is Hollywood OS. That's OS, Hollywood OS. Just had to have a quick bite, so forgive me. But anyway, you can sign up with these groups or you can just know someone. In my case, you had to know me. The casting people reach out to these casting networks and ask you to come and be a large group of people to be various atmosphere. So when your stars are talking, The atmosphere, as you know, are the people walking in the background in the various costumes and things, or riding horses or whatever. They can be a studio audience in a thing like Two Broke Girls or Two and a Half Men, which I know I'm really dating myself, but love that with Charlie Sheen. And when the laugh track is real, it's a lot more interesting, I think, to people like us. In any case, you're asked to do that, and you're paid some money. Okay. Different if you're union or non-union, but we won't get into that. So we had a challenge. And that was when filming the Country Bears, we filmed up at the Disney Ranch. Disney Ranch, you may be saying, Disney Ranch? Or, oh, Disney Ranch, okay? The only way you can get on the ranch is to be part of an event that they're doing or be in the movie, in a movie filming there. And Country Bears was filming there. But the problem was we were having trouble with our casted extras. They were disappearing into the woods and coming back a little high, shall we say? Since this is a public channel, let's just say they were a little happy. And so it became very challenging for our director to work with them, or many of them. And so he frustratedly at a rehearsal, because we would rehearse in between. So maybe a day or two, we would rehearse a particular bit. I was supposed to do the yodel. In fact, the yodel is somewhere on the cutting room floor as Big Al. But we did this. We were in the middle of the rehearsal when Peter Hastings, our director, said, I just need a room full of extras for the ending scene of Country Bears, and I need people who are vested, meaning into it. And I went, because honestly, I've been talking to all of you in the Disney fan world since 1998. That was my first talk with you. And in 1987, I was very heavily Imagineer. So 1998, the NFFC, National Fantasy Fan Club, who's turned into the Disneyana Fan Club, were the first people to give me my chance on stage speaking with people. I had always spoke like with Disney, within Disney, but never like this. And my first crowd was probably about 200 or 300 people. And I love it. I love it. The biggest crowd I've ever talked to is 7,500, and I love it. I'm not one of these people who's terrified of speaking, but then you knew that, didn't you? So I suggested that I put out email. I reach out to all the clubs that I had spoken to and invite them to be a part of the Country Bears. Many of them, Jacob, wore tie-dyed shirts. The wardrobe people put them in tie-dyed shirts to celebrate the Country Bears. So you've got all different walks of life in tie-dyed shirts, in farm shirts, the plaids, those nice DIY type plaids that people wear. But you can see them. You can see them hanging from the rafters. Many of those are the collectors. There's some in front. If you are familiar with a wonderful podcast / YouTube / website called Laughing Place, Rebecca Mosley was in the front. She's up in the front of the area, and she was in the audience. There are, I think Bruce Lau was in the audience. He's an amazing sculptor. We had all different kinds of people from all walks of life that knew me, and I got them in there. Now, I told them it was the opportunity to be on the Disney Ranch, which is what I've told you before, closed to the casual visitor. So they all got to come. They were able to walk around and see where Spin' Marty, I think it's called. Forgive me, I don't know everything. Spin' Marty was filmed. They were able to be in a tent and speak with each other. Various groups, various clubs. They had to honor an NDA. There was one that didn't, and there was a few words with that person, but everyone else was really good. Now, here's the thing that's really cute about you guys. About 50 or 60 of you showed up, and Peter loved you, and my first AD loved you, thinking, and the third AD, meaning assistant director. So you got a first assistant, second assistant, third assistant director. They all loved you guys because you were vested. You were excited to be there because you got to be in a Disney film, and you got to be on the Disney Ranch, and you're all just great people. You were respectful. You made me look like a rock star, and I will continue to love you for it, those of you who showed up. The other thing that was very cute is the third AD sat next to me while I was working on my Big Al character. And let me see if I can find him for those of you going, huh? What is she talking about? I don't even understand what she's talking about. I will pull something up for you. So let me see if I can find it so that you can see it. There it is. This is the picture of me and Big Al. So down in the bottom, if I just hide Jacob's comment, I'm down in the bottom at the Big One system. This is where I can see on the screen what's going on. Here on the headphones, how my person inside the bear is, John Alexander, and then I can do the voice, which is later overdubbed by a voice. I want to do it this way, voice actor. I'm a voice actor, but they didn't care. Disney usually doesn't care if you're a puppeteer and a voice actor. They want to go. So if you want to be a voice actor, you got to go around in a different way, and then Disney brings you back, and sometimes you can do the voice of your character. I digress. But the point is that this was my character, Big Al, and while I was programming the head, the third AD came in and said, I love those Disney folks. They are the sweetest, kindest, wonderful people. And of course, of course they are. But he said what was really cute about all of you is that he had you sign what's called a voucher because you were getting paid. And every single one of you went, paid? Like, what? And I had to encourage you to cash the check so that the bookkeeping department for the Country Bears didn't have a deficit, because you all kept it because it had a mouse on it. So I had to tell you that Mickey Mouse, yes, he's on it going like this, and it says Walt Disney Pictures. And I know how much you guys got excited about having that actual check, but I said, Cat, take a photo copy of it, or shoot it with your phone. I don't think we didn't have cell phones back then really of quite quality, so they were just kind of coming along. But my point is that I had you make a copy of it and then cash the actual check, and then you can frame the copy so that the bookkeeping and accounting department for Country Bears didn't get all tilty. But what a great question, Jacob. I want to thank you for that. Again, if you're wondering what Jacob's question was, he was wondering if they were the ones in the tie-dyed shirts. They were in all kinds of shirts, but they're the ones with the big smiles. And a lot of times you can, how you freeze frame the Country Bears, you can freeze frame it and see a lot of your friends. If you're someone who is very much active in those circles, you're going to see a lot of your friends in there. Angie, how are you? Makes you miss the Friday night lineup on ABC. Yeah, right? TGIF. Yeah, thank God it's Friday. And that was exactly how dinosaurs came to be. We were a part of that lineup. So thank you, Angie, for taking me back into that. That's very, very cool. Bob Burdine says, part of the tribe. Terry has convinced me that I belong in the tribe and I love it. I tell my friends to join. Great. Pick me up. And the majority of the tribe will say the same thing. Yeah. On Patreon, I'm happy to say that if some need to leave, it's because they've hit some challenging times, and $5 a month, $60 a year is a stretch for them, and they always are apologizing. But please, it's not about that. It's that I'm going to miss you and your voice. So that's kind of the way I'm feeling. So yeah. So I hope you join us because your voice will be heard. Many of you, if you have been listening to this YouTube channel, know Connie Lane, and she's such a lovely lady. She joined the tribe after Monday's broadcast, and everybody was so excited. She is quite an amazing woman, and they just loved on her. And that's what's so great about my Patreon page and Terry's tribe. Okay. Am I a bit, as they say, in my cups about it? Am I feeling a little special because I have such a great group? Yeah, I am. I'm like, yeah, I'm the best. It's the best. It's the best. So it's the way I feel. And I don't feel it's because of me. I feel it's because of the group, the community that is gathered there. So It's wonderful. It's wonderful. This is good. This is lovely. If this is what you can do, I'm doing this because not everybody, has $5 a month and $60 a year. But if you can do it and you want to be heard or you want to actually have a conversation with me, there's the place to do it. Okay? All right. Thank you, Bob. So kind of you. He's always wonderful. Angie says, Governor of Iowa is letting the public health emergency end February 16th. They are scaling back resources and reporting. I think it's crazy though. Yeah, I think that it's a great wish. And today's keyword is wish. Disney, wish. When you wish upon a star. So I know how they feel, and I know how I feel. We wish that it would get better. We wish that this would stop, or at least be a little more in the wings and not quite so dominant. But COVID seems to want to take the limelight every time we turn around, and we cannot ignore it. In fact, Barbara Ferrer came on and said, now is not the time to let down our guard. We've got to be on the defense of this. Let's not let it down. And the reason she addressed that is because in California, a lot of people were seen sitting together watching the game that took the Rams to the Super Bowl without masks. And you can imagine if you're one of those people. We're outside and it said we don't have to wear a mask outside, but that's only part of the story. You should be social distancing. And if you're sitting next to a guy, people you don't know on either side, and you're all shouting and you have no masks, this could be a danger. Only time will tell if the Super Bowl has helped with the numbers being worse, or if it's a little better and, you had this big group of people without masks and Omicron didn't win. Wouldn't that be great news? But a really scary way to test it. I agree with you, Angie. Not the best way to test it is all of you sitting there without masks next to each other during a game that doesn't last less than 15 minutes, right? So I agree with you. It's a little scary. Yes. Forgot it was Friday. Well, hello, Joe. You remembered in time? No. You must be having a great time. You must be having a great time. Yep, so I'm drinking tea. I always drink my tea. Tea is my jam. Holly, here you are. I'm with your husband. I'm going to need more time before I get on a ship. Bye-bye, COVID. I agree. I mean, this is one of the reasons I thought this would be a good thing to talk about today. Because if you do want to cruise, and I have a very dear friend in the tribe, Tamara, who says she's going to cruise. She's going, I think she said mid-February, end of February, and she's going to drive because she doesn't want to fly, but she's going to drive and then she's going to get on a cruise. So I told her to be safe, stay safe, because that's a little scary. That's a lot scary, and if you're okay on a cruise, why are you not okay to fly is another question. Not judging, just asking that question, because it's Ask Me Anything, so I'm asking, what do you think about that? Wouldn't you fly if you're going to get on a cruise because you don't mind, or maybe she just doesn't like flying, because there's those people that don't like to fly, period, end of story, right? So I agree with you, Holly. I think for me now, I wouldn't be a part of a cruise. And full disclosure, because I'm always a truth teller as best as I can be. I'm only human. So my truths can be not perfect, okay, because I'm only human. But I haven't been invited on a cruise so lately, so I haven't had to make that decision. But that would probably be my decision for a while. Does being in a tribe require a blood initiation? No. Joe, you're a nut. You are just a silly guy. Your life must be lovely because you are always so silly. And we love that about you. Just a little pinky. And Bob's right on it. We do the pinky promise, but no blood is involved. You guys. I am not a writer, said Jacob. I am no Sydney Sheldon. I am not. Just kidding. You can be a writer and not be Sydney, right? I'm a writer. I didn't think I was. And then I met a man who told me, Mitch, I tell you, everyone is an artist if they're passionate about it, what they do. He told me that you write, you just get a pad and you start writing your thoughts down and just, forgive my wording, but vomit on the page because it's all going to be garbage. And then read through it, pull out, cherry pick what you like, and then do it again and do it again, and then organize it. And there's a really great guy. His name is Craig Deswalt. He's known as the rock star marketer. And Craig teaches you how to write a book. He gives you a process how to write a book, and it's really good. It involves Post-it notes and a board, and it works really well. It helps you to collect your thoughts, move them around. You may, as writers, have a way of doing that on your own. But if you're someone who has a book inside you and you'd like to write it, feel free to ask me questions about it. I've written one. I've got another one on the way. I've got the picture book. I did not write the picture book, but I did illustrate it. So, so it can be done. It can easily be done. And if you want to do it, this is ways to do it. Self-publish it. Some publish just to give it to their families. They'll self-publish a book on Shutterfly or something. It can be a visual picture book. I got an amazing calendar from one of my tribe that he did on Shutterfly. It's very cool and wonderful. There's a place called Photo Books. You can take your photos and make a book, and every month you get a free one. It's $8 to ship to you. So maybe $8 a book every month, but it's really neat. It's a little app with a butterfly on a book, and you should check it out if you want to do that. There's also other book apps you can find out by Googling that will take your Facebook photos that you have and put them in a book, or they'll also put it with the comments. So if you're someone who just wants to do it for family, great. And if you want to actually put a book together, there's so many books companies out there that will help you with that. 48-hour books on the East Coast is one of my favorite because they actually give you someone to converse with if you've had no idea how to do a book. And my first book was just like that. Now I'm redoing that book. It's happening slow because I have something just a tad more important to me, and that's my Rolly Crumb chess set. So there you go. But getting back to the cruise, I know a couple people said they're eager to go on a cruise and feel confident that they will be safe, and that's you. Please let us know in the comments because we love cruising too. I love it. The ocean is my best friend when looking at it. It calms me. It embraces me. It loves on me. I love the ocean. But and the nice thing about a cruise is it's all the way around. So it's wonderful, but just not ready to do that. And as you heard, neither are some other people. So you may be a writer, Jacob. You just don't know it. Jacob says, yes, I have heard of Laughing Place. Yes, Laughing Place is, and if you look at the people there, then you'll see that you'll recognize her because she's up close. And, I'm going to tell you, 2/3 of that audience is my fans and followers and people that know me. And I just put it out on an email. I went to clubs like Laughing Place. I went to clubs like, at the time, NFFC, the National Fantasy Fan Club, which is now the Disneyana Fan Club, also invited people because there's another really great group called Friends of the Mouse. They were not in existence at the time. They were part of the NFFC, so they came along too. So we had some great people all coming. I had one person, my dear friend Liz Bradley, who drove all the way from Vegas to be in that movie. And at one point I told her this evening, we need people. And she got in her car and drove out from Vegas that day to be there that night. So you guys are dedicated. This is why the director and everyone at Country Bears fell in love with you guys. And so you can slow it down and you may see some familiar faces that you know. It was a great experience for all of us to have you there. Hello, Connie. So here is Connie Lane, the latest member of Terry's Tribe, and everybody. She joined us on our Zoom call last Wednesday, and it was fabulous. People were just having a good time. My friend and author of Giggling Pumpkins, Lynette Eklund, joined us. It was a kicking call. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here, but Connie, I want to say welcome. What a great opportunity. Good morning. Tried to sign in earlier. Guess sunspots prohibited my arrival. Yeah. Or wind. You remember Evan? He was having that trouble, Connie. The wind was just keeping him from being a part of anything. He was like, ah! But anyway, Connie is a great addition, and this is what I'm talking about. Passionate, wonderful people are part of the tribe. And welcome, Connie. You were just such a delight on Wednesday, and we all look forward to your spotlight. So I'll reach out to you later and see if we can set a date for that, because it'll be fun to hear all about you. And that's what we do. We talk about all about you. It's not me yapping all the time. It's we get to hear from you and hear what's going on in your lives in the tribe. And that's what makes it fun. Okay. Helps us to feel like we're having the conversations that we might have face to face, but don't necessarily have at the extent as we wish we could. Right. Jacob says, I'm going to ask you if you have ever heard or seen this movie. It's called American Pop, and it's made in 1981. It was done by Bakshi Animation. It features lots of great music. Yes, I have seen it. Ralph Bakshi, I am on the fence about. Let me say that. Many animators, to learn animation, will do what's called rotoscoping, which means they will film live action and then put that live action frame by frame or a few frames at a time and trace over it. Bakshi just never went beyond the tracing. So he would trace, color it in. That was his animated film. He was known for doing some great, some fun things, but he always would kind of keep the characters in the rotoscope stage. So I never really was a fan of that tracing technique as a way to make a film. He never seemed to go above that. There were a couple of them that he did where he did that later, but most of his stuff was traced, and it was a little challenging to love that as much as you would Disney, who does rotoscope. Okay, Walt Disney Animation would tell you they would do rotoscoping, but as a training tool. And there, I think it's you, Jacob, that was telling me you're practicing. Tracing helps you to get those muscles built. Also, if you film people, like let's say you film somebody walking, and then you put it on your iPad and frame by frame, you break it down by tracing, you can actually see how the animator animates, because you'll start to feel those muscles as you trace a human being walking or a dog walking. It's a great teaching tool. And Bakshi was known for doing quite a bit of that. He also had a bad habit of lifting other people's stories and claiming them for himself, which wasn't great, but his stuff is good. Yeah, so that's why I'm on the fence with this one. But yes, I knew him very well and saw every movie. Didn't mean I didn't see every movie, Jacob. Okay. Always watched his films. Yeah, because they were always really nice. Yeah, Darren, woot woot, Connie's in the house. Yeah, I'm telling you. The group is great. It goes the way I think from the 20s to the 80s. I haven't seen it in a while. It's a great movie. You would love it. If you don't have it yet, pick up the DVD copy. Yeah. I have it. I don't have it, but I know it. Yeah, I know it very well. The movie that I like that my friend told me I have a twisted brain is the 5,000 Figures of Dr. T. And if you haven't seen that, check it out. I think it's free on Amazon Prime, and many of you probably have a Prime membership. So it's the bonus as you get that channel. But check it out. It's very bizarre and weird. And I was saying that I liked Squid Games, and people were like, oh, it's so violent. But if you've seen 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T, you've read a lot of Dr. Seuss, and you love MC Escher, this movie has all of those components. And then I love a story that delves into why anyone would do this kind of a competition. And I think the movie is good. But if you don't like violence, you have to remember that I'm in the film industry, and a lot of times I I did those effects, so it doesn't affect me in movies. Some cases it does, but in Squid Games it doesn't, with the crazy games and characters and weird stuff, and your life is on the line playing these games, and you ask yourself, why would you involve yourself in something like Squid Games if it means you might lose your life? Is money so important? And people start to analyze, why did I come to be a part of these games? So if you can get past the violence is a component that's very necessary. And when it's necessary in a film, I'm okay. I don't like gratuitous violence. And in Squid Games, it's necessary because the characters ask themselves, what the heck am I doing here? Why am I here? And you've got characters who death is part of their life, okay? Gang members or whatever. And then you've got people who are in situations that they just can't visualize way of getting out. And here's a chance that, what if I survive? If I survive, I'm going to do real well. I'm going to be able to change my life. So it's you got to look past the violence, and the violence is so ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. But if you're someone who just doesn't like that stuff, and I wouldn't be showing it to your children, your little children, because they, you got little kids, they may not be able to differentiate what this movie is about. But if you have older people, you're older, and you can see why this film was even made, what they're trying to do is to ask the question, why do you do this? So it's really, but it's MC Escher meets Dr. Seuss meets 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T, in my opinion. So check out 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T. It's really an off-the-wall movie. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. And it's nonviolent. It was made in the 50s. So you can do both. I will not be disappointed. Yes, I have seen it. I was not disappointed. I liked it okay. I'm going to say that. But that's because all Bakshi films I like okay. Knew him very well. He was around during my peak time. Darren says, I agree with Bob and other tribe members. It's such a positive place to gather and get lifted up. Thank you, Darren. And I appreciate that, because Darren left us, because, when you're in the tribe, sometimes you get busy and maybe you're listening to us in a podcast, you're listening to the Zoom call because you're working, or you miss it because 11 o'clock is a time when, might not be the best for you. But if you can make it, it's really cool. It's really cool. It's a chance to take you and lift you up if you're feeling down, and to celebrate you if you've got some great news to share. So, and to meet people in person like Connie and Darren, who is a music teacher, and Bob, who will teach you what it means to give. Bob and Rose have been supporting not only their community for years, but are real advocates for giving back. And if you're someone who wants to do something nice for someone, but you're not quite sure how to do it, or the only way you think you can do it is money, the Burdines are wonderful to help you learn how to give back and not necessarily spend a single penny. So everybody's got their magic in the tribe. Glad you made it, Connie, says Bob. Bob just got back from a cruise and said they are very strict with the COVID protocol. Oh, okay. Okay. Did Bob have fun? Is COVID gone tomorrow? Where would you go? If COVID was gone tomorrow, I would book a plane to the UK. Because when COVID hit, I had 4 trips planned. On 2019, I traveled all over the world. In fact, I flew over 50 times that year, 2019, and did about 100 appearances. And the reason I did was because I just wanted to see how many speaking gigs I could get, and see if that's the direction I wanted to go, was being a public speaker. I realized that I want to be more local, more in my area, and just do a few trips, because I really missed my family. I didn't like being away from my family. It changed me emotionally, being away from my husband. So in 2019, December 2019, which is my Celebrate and Fix, Angie, this is a great question. I decided not to travel so worldly, so distant. And I honed all my trips down to 4. I was going to go to Florida to see my friends in Florida and to be a part of an event that was there. And then in April, I was going to go to China. You've seen my fabulous skull coat. I was going to meet with manufacturers there to see if we could do my vision of this coat because so many people want it, and I wanted to do something that was very me. This is very me, but my long coat, that is my signature coat. Everybody wants one, and I was going to talk to them about it. And then in May, I was going to go to the UK and see my friends, like my dear friend Bella, who I met when she was 7 and now she's 11. And I was going to go up to where they live. They live near Cornwall. We were going to walk the Doc Martin thing, but most importantly, we were going to spend some time with them up in their community. They came and saw me the last time I did my Paris. I did a Paris tour in 2019. You could walk with me and see things in Paris that you wouldn't see if you just went, because Paris is one of my favorite cities in the world, but I'm going to show you through my eyes. And believe me, it's very different than going to just Notre Dame and the Eiffel Tower. However, I never missed the Eiffel Tower, but we took people to some really wild places and they had a great time, and well as walked you through Disneyland. But I was going to go there to see my dear friend and tribe member Ana Diaz in Portugal. I was going to be in the UK and meet my dear friends Liz Reed and Michelle and Damian Morley. I was going to see these wonderful people and their family. I'd seen them before, but it was a very short trip. I was going to spend probably about 3 weeks out there and see if I could take my husband and just tour the UK with my friends. Because honestly, guys, I love seeing the sights in these places, but the best sight in the world is going to see you in your community and being shown the things that you love about where you live. And I was so excited to do this. Then I was going to go to Canada to see my friend Jani and my friend Ivano. We were going to do an art gathering of teaching, immersion, joy with everyone in Canada. And then, as you know, 2020 came around the bend. I was able to make it to Florida and get back, but China canceled, UK canceled, Canada had to we locked down. Everybody locked down. So I never got the opportunity to go. And I'm just waiting for it to open enough, Angie, so that I can go see these people. I'm dying to see Jani and Ivano in Canada. We had this really great idea of inviting artists to get to know and learn about the unstoppable force of being an artist at a time when you can let the voice tell you the reason your art isn't selling or it isn't going forward is because of someone out there, projection. And what I do is teach you to own your challenges, ask you questions to see, you don't have to answer me, but I ask you questions about how you've been marketing your art, and then we talk about what you can do to make it better. And Jani G, who's part of the tribe, she went from, I have no idea how to charge my stuff. My stuff is I'm only making a small little, my money is decent. I'd like it to be better, to exploding after being at a gathering with us. So my goodness, just really, really something that I was really getting into when all of a sudden it had to be squashed. So Angie, I'm really eager to get to Canada, get to the UK, and get to China. Those are the 3 places, and Japan. I have a friend in Japan. So I just want to kind of make that little journey, and Florida eventually. But right now, my husband is like, please no. And Texas is very important. I have a group there, my mastermind group, where we sit together and we talk about things that we could do to make to be more of service to people and to make our businesses better. And there's an in-person thing that I get to do, and I can't do it because no flying. So thank you for that question, Andy. It's a good one. That is a good question. Good morning, Joseph. I'd love to go back on a Disney cruise, but can't really afford it these days. I'm still traveling when I can, and there's always careful, continue to wear a mask. And he's right. Disney's getting more and more and more expensive, isn't it? Many of you are wondering if you ever get to go there again, correct? Yeah, it's tough. And then you hear me always say, for the price of one Starbucks coffee, you can join my tribe, $5 a month, but Starbucks just said they're going to kick their coffee price up. So I might be more reasonable, more affordable than a cup of coffee. Yeah, think about that. In any case, this is a heartbreaker on all levels. We spoke with Connie about it. It's not the way Walt wanted it, and it becomes more and more of a challenge. And I want to mention to you guys that I had a wonderful talk with Michael Brogy, and we've been good friends for a long time. He's involved with the Carolwood Society, but more than that, he's been involved in Disney since he was a little shaver, because his father was an engineer on the Disney trains back in the day. I'm sure Connie knows him, and many of you know him. But we're going to be doing a Carolwood event virtually. Yes, that's virtually, where we're very, very safe, on the 10th, the Thursday, the 10th. So I will be letting you guys know where you can sign up. If you're not a member of Carolwood, it's going to cost you $7 to be a part of the group. That helps support Carolwood. That helps keep Carolwood rolling. And to be a part, get your ticket to hear about Michael and I talk about old times. And believe us, we have a lot of them. We're going to celebrate each other. He's an amazing author. He's an amazing guy. He's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And we're both going to be together talking Carolwood. So if you can join us, join me Monday, and I'll see if I can get the joining information, the website information. I don't know if our friend Jim is going to have it up by then, but I'll definitely email him and see if he will. Reach out to him and see what he's going to have and when he's going to have it. And then I'll make sure I have it there so you guys can know all about it. Okay. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And you're going to have a great conversation. Michael Brogy is amazing. And then I'll be there too. And I can be entertaining. So this right here is something we spoke about, that things are happening in certain areas that should not be. So how can we collectively make it better, And we would love to do that. So you can, like Joseph, go on a cruise or see the parks, right? I've seen a commercial that Fraggle Rock is coming back. No, I didn't do anything with the show, but I sure know a lot of people who were involved in it, because when you're part of the Jim Henson stable, you meet all of those folks. And I loved Fraggle Rock. Yeah, I thought and this is one of the things that's cool about Disney Plus, is they are unearthing a lot of things that we never thought were going to get seen again. I mean, Dinosaurs, the TV show, is there, and being able to watch that. I mean, I have the DVDs, okay, and I watched the DVDs, but very nice to have them on Disney Plus. Things that, the original Muppet Show. I mean, seriously, guys, how cool is that? Unfortunately, the new voice of Kermit the Frog, you can see how absolutely not right it is for that character, because you watch the real show, then you listen to that and you go, oh, that's not right. And not an insult to the puppeteer who does the voice, because he's a very good puppeteer. He just should not be doing Kermit. You heard it here first. He's really talented, but you can't do every voice. You can't do everything. I can't do any of the Muppets. Can't do, not what I wanted to ever do anyway. But so congratulations, because Disney was looking for sound-alikes, and I just didn't fit the bill. I mean, you can't fit every bill, but they need a voice that's closer to Jim. Ever since they got rid of Steve, who was handpicked by Jim to do Kermit. There you go. Told you I was truth teller. Disney did a lot of rotoscoping too, didn't they? Yes, but a lot of times it didn't necessarily make it to the final film. In some cases, maybe, but Bakshi, 90% was the entire film. He traced it, colored it, boom, film. Doesn't mean they were bad films, just means that he didn't really work as hard. Disney, in some cases, has some rotoscoping. There was a bit, there's quite a bit in Snow White, his very first film. But again, like I said, it didn't stop there. The rotoscoping was a training tool, and then they did their art after doing that. In fact, The Little Mermaid, which is a big popular one for most of you, Ariel the Mermaid, you notice that over this shoulder is a mermaid tail. Let me lean this way. There it is. Okay. Disney found out I had a mermaid tail and that I could swim in it. And they put me in a fish tank to swim so that they could film it and then use it as a rotoscope tool for the swimming of the Little Mermaid. But you can see how much I look like Ariel, so they did not leave it there. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about, Jacob. That's what I'm talking about. They had me swim. They filmed me. They traced over me for a while to get the muscles right. And then they went on to animate Ariel the Mermaid. So some of those swimming sequences came from me and came from filming me. Isn't that fun? Something but you are correct. They did. MC Usher. Escher. You nut. MC Hammer. No, I'm kidding. Usher became a rapper. You guys are too much. Joe is always, do you think when he was a kid, he was a class clown? Because he's full of vinegar, isn't he? We love you, Joe. It's so true, Darren. It does lift up. Feel better, buddy. Yeah. So this is the goal, is if you're down, you need to phone a friend, and that's the tribe. You need to get in there and talk to us and let us know what's happening so we can help you to feel better about it. Yeah. I know I've asked you to do this before, but do you think that you could give me a little image trace lesson on the iPad on here today? Let me see if let me just take a look over here and see what I've got in my repertoire. And maybe I can do just that. I use a program right now. I bounce between Fresco, which is an Adobe product, which I really like because I can draw right away in Vector, or Procreate, which is not, you have to change it to Vector. I'm not yet Illustrator savvy, but that's the one. That's the goal, is to get to Illustrator. This digital realm is very new to me. So let me just see if I pull up Procreate, if I can show you what I did. Let's see about this one. Let's see where these look. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. So we're going to start with the photo. Let me see the photo. Well, here, we'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. Okay, and let me see about trying to see. There we go. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. Look at that. There we go. Okay, there we go. Let's make the layers go away. Okay, so here, Jacob, just for you, is a sketch. A photo of, and I'm going to hide your comment. Here is a photo of men working on a railroad. Okay. And I wanted to create a staircase. Now, what they're working on here is a train track, but I wanted the sweep of a staircase. So I used this. And then what I did is, this is, again, Procreate, the program Procreate. What I did is I went to and created layers. So you see on the side, it has the layers. Layers are your best friend. All right. They are the best of the best of the best. So we have the white background and we have the photo. Now, if you go into the photo, it gives you things about the photo when you tap the N. And here, if I don't know if you can see it, but right under that bright big blue bar is a place that you can watch the photo. You can make it very faint, or you can pull it into full opacity. So there's the full 100% opacity, but then I just did that. Okay. And then I went back to layers and I took this next layer and I laid in the line, the sweeping line. And if we remove the layers, here's what I did. So I took the line, you see that? And then I swept this angle because I wanted to make it a staircase. But I liked the way the sweep was. You follow me? So then if I go here and I turn off the photo, you can see there's the sweep. Okay. I love the way that it goes away from me, the perspective of it. All right. Then I went back to the picture. So let's fire up. There's the photo again. And I created a third layer, layer 3. I changed the color and laid in the steps. All right. So you can see here how I drew over the tracks to get the angle I thought I wanted for the steps. We removed the photo right there, and then we let the layers, and here are the steps. So here's the rough that I did of the staircase. And then if I take away the black line, you can see that it's working. See how the stairs are fading? But that's what I did. I used the railroad tracks and did it. You could easily trace over a character, right? You could easily do it. But for me, I have something that I'm working on, and I want it to go through that doorway, and I want to put maybe a man standing in the door, or maybe someone climbing the stairs or whatever. But the idea was to get that dynamic, and that's a quick way to get a dynamic without trying to have to figure it out yourself. Here, let me put me in the corner. Without having to try to figure out yourself, you can kind of use that. But what you're talking about is, what you're talking about is, but that's how I use the tracing. There could be a body position that I'm not really good with, and I'll trace it a la Bakshi to get the feel of that person's stance or pose and go from there. So let me show you Sidekick Boy. And I don't think I have any photos that I could trace over for this one. So that might not help you. But let's pull up let's see if I have this happening. No, that one doesn't have it either. So I think the best thing to do is to start a new one. And let's just grab screen size just for an example. So here I can't go back. We'll do that later. Back to me. I can't show you today because my pencil is charging in the house. So I can't actually show you the drawing method, but that gives you some steps as to how you can do, how you can trace over and get a feel for what you're doing. And then you can keep drawing, get the feel of it and draw it. So you would trace over like that railroad tie that I just showed you. You could zoom in on the men. So let's pull that up one more time. Okay, you can zoom in. Oops. What did I do? Dag nabbit. I do that and then I can't get back because me and technology is not the best. But here we are. And if we go back to the guys, let's go back to the guys. Okay, and we fire up the guys. You could easily pull up this guy right here. And then you would create another layer, let's say layer 2. And you could create another layer here by hitting the plus. And then that's your layer. You could come back. You could pick a color like black. And then you can trace over. My finger, unfortunately, is deactivated on Procreate. You can put your hand all over it and it doesn't do anything. So I can't show you how to trace, but you'd trace over this guy's hand, you trace over his face, you trace over his hat, you trace over the body, and then you'd say, okay, there's a pose. You might even draw, when you get better, you might even draw just the position of the guy. You've got one of these guys bent over. You've got, what did the person look? This guy with the hat right here, who has a very interesting body stance. But this is what I'm talking about. If you want to create a crowd of guys, you could trace over these guys so you could see what it felt like maybe to do a group like this. What does the 3/4 face look like? What does it look like holding a shovel? All of this could be working. But in this case, for me, I just wanted to create this staircase. I love the angle that was being presented in the photo, and I used it to get the feeling of the staircase I was doing. So this is not cheating. This is just helping you along a little quicker. So I hope that helps. Next time, I'll see if I can remember my pencil, and I'll actually do some drawing for you on the Friday. Okay? Thank you for the question. Yes, he had a great time, and I'm not talking in the third person. Indeed. I'm getting Tokyo Disney withdrawal and wish Japan would open up the borders. I miss it and my good friends there. Yes, Joseph, Japan is one of the finest parks designed, and that is because Japan said, we'll lease the name and pay you a royalty, Disney, so that we can keep control. I think that was quite brilliant because there are attractions there that just boggle the mind. They are so amazing. So I agree with you. I love, and Disney Seas is by far unbelievable. I took my husband there and could not get him out of there. He loved it so much. So yeah, amazing. David Lewis says, hi, Terry. I'm still in Alabama, coming back to California soon. Orange County area. If all goes good, hope to have a dream lunch with you at Nod sometime. Absolutely. Especially if it's a chicken dinner. I might be doing that in the beginning of April with my friends from London. They're coming out, and we're going to meet and then we're thinking maybe we'll meet in Knott's Berry Farm, or they'll come here. And the idea is to have some instant COVID tests so we can test them before they walk in. It's very important for my husband that we're safe, or we just wear masks. Either way, person doesn't want to take a test, we wear the mask. That's what you do with someone you love and someone who's high risk. So, but hopefully the numbers will be down by then, and we can feel a little more like we still got to do our washing of the hands and our masking and our distancing a little bit if we don't know what circles you've been in, but we get to see each other. So I think it's cool. I think it's going to be great. And I'd love to do that, David. I really would. Angie, what a great question. Yeah, it's a good one. And same to you. The drawing one was good too. Just saw a teapot shaped like a dragon. Whoop, whoop. You open its mouth to pour out the water. It made me think of you. Thank you so much for saying that. I created a nightlight where you hold the tail of the dragon based on the rose float that I did for the Tournament of Roses. My 1996 Tournament of Roses float. Let's just give me 1 second. I have to hit this in just the right way. Sometimes it's better with my left hand. Oh, it's good to be ambidextrous. Okay. Don't know if it's in here. I'm going to see if I can find it. Sometimes you don't show everything. Sometimes you show only a few things. Oh, here it is. This is the Burbank Tournament of Roses float. You see me from the back here wearing my Henson jacket. Burbank is a self-built float, meaning that we build it from the chassis up. Many floats that you see on television that have volunteer decorators have just that, volunteer decorators. They're built by a professional float building company, Here, let me put myself in the bottom corner. They're built by a professional float building company, and so they build everything, and then they are what's called volunteer decorated. In the case of 6 cities, there are self-built floats, and Burbank is one of them. And here I am after winning the design contest for Reach for the Wind, and we called it Dream Flight, and it involves a little boy holding the tail of a dragon as they roller skate down Colorado Boulevard. And you may notice here, this is my friend Bruce Lanoyle, also a tribe member, and I've known him forever. This is his young boy who is now married, all grown up, because this is a 1996 float. But you may notice a resemblance between that little boy and the float child. This is because I got the idea while doing a film with Whoopi Goldberg and Bruce, and his little boy was 3, and he knelt down, and the idea just popped into my head. And a lot of times when you're an artist, this is what happens. Poof, I wanted to design a float for the city of Burbank, and little Nikki here gave me the idea, and so I thought, hey, I'm going to have little Nikki on the float. And then the Dalmatian dog played an integral part for Burbank for a couple of years, and so I included this dog who's riding in a backpack. And what I'll do is I'll take a picture of my sketch, and I'll show you my sketch next time, and my trophy, because we won a trophy, and it was the first time in a long time that the self-built had won a trophy, not in the what's called the Founders category, which the Founders trophy is for exclusively a trophy to win by self-built floats. So all the self-builts don't want to win that one. They're happy with that one, but they want to win one of the big ones. This one won the it was for creativity in a float. I forget what the name of it. It just went out of my head. And then the next year, I designed one called Mama's Day Off, and we won the mayor's trophy for that one. But in that time, I also taught all self-builts how to sculpt things like this face. So they were really having trouble sculpting and figuring out how to make the faces clean and nice. And we invited all of them to join us, and I taught people how to sculpt and what materials to use, what tools to use. And now, if you watched last year's or this year's float, you'll notice it's very hard to tell self-builts from the professional builts. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to level the playing field. So that's what we did. So in this case, Dream Flight, I actually just coached people. I really didn't do a lot of sculpting. I sculpted the dog a little bit, and I retrofitted most of the stuff. So made sure the head of the boy fit on the body properly, because the body is sculpted in rebar and stuff. And then I made sure the dog fit on the back of the boy, and then discussed with them, if we go back, discussed with them the wingspan in this picture for the dragon, because we didn't want him to look like a bumblebee, so we had to get clearance to have the wings wider than planned. But I'll see if I can find the full-on picture, if you're interested in seeing it, for next Friday, so you can actually see the trophy that I won, which is framed. It's a frame with your float going down the boulevard, and the actual trophy goes in our library in the city's public library, and they have all the trophies of all the times. And then you can get one for yourself. So I have a little one for Mama's Day Off, and I have a big one for Dream Flight. And if I can find Mama's Day Off, but Mama's Day Off was the 1998 float. So you can look back and Google 1996 Reach for the Wind, Dream Flight float. That's what it was called. And then 1998's float, Mama's Day Off. And you can see that that's where Dad is fast asleep, and all the they're bears, and all the kid bears are wreaking havoc on the float. So yeah, that's the rose float. You can design a rose float. And if you Google Burbank Tournament of Roses, you can enter the rose float contest. But I think the deadline was was January 31st. So you may not be able to do it for 2023, but in 23 you can do it for 24, and you get 2 tickets in the stands, and you can be active with them when they're building it or not. I was very active because I wanted to make sure, not so much that they did a good job, but I wanted to learn what it takes to build a float. I wanted to learn what are some of the things you've got to know. And in my original design for the dragon was red. And they said, no, red is too difficult to do because you cannot do it in dry materials. You have to do it in a floral because the red's very hard to duplicate. So they said yellow would be perfect. That would work for us. And then the thing that's really cool, and I'll try, like I said, to give you other shots of it, but the thing that's really cool about it is that they taught me that you use all kinds of different things, not just roses, to decorate the look of the dragon. So that was really, really cool to see. Like if I go back to this picture and I pull it up for you. Here, the yellow was, but they did, you can't really see, but these are halved. That green area that's being pointed to by the cherry picker, that is green apples, pippin apples cut in half right there. And then underneath they used a different fruit or vegetable for that dark green. And then the orange was a straw flower. And then they just the boys' shirt is carnations, red and white. The Dalmatian here was coconut and pumpkin and sesame seed. And, so they were very clever. And I learned all kinds of cool stuff from them as to what it takes to create this massive float. And again, because Burbank is one of the self-built floats. You can see from the chassis up. So there's people who learn how to weld and people who cover, and they do all of it. So does Cal Poly. We taught Cal Poly. La Cañada Flint Ridge, we taught them. They have the aerospace, the one that in their city. So they're usually winning the animation trophy because they really get some cool stuff that company comes and helps their city. But there's like 6 different self-builds. So it's really great when they win something big because they've been working on it. Like they're working on it now. They had a tear down and now they're building again. And anytime they win a trophy that's not the founders, they celebrate extra happily. Okay. There's a friend of mine who worked with me on the float, Tamara Carlson, worked with me on Mama's Day Off, and she came down and designed a float that did real well, and so that was cool. And then and I think the one that she was a part of, I could be wrong, won the Queens, and that's a mega trophy. That's one of the big ones. So to take that away from a commercial outfit is a real win for the self-built float. So there you go. I know it sounds kind of strange that we get it, but that's what happens on this channel. Things pop up, what we're going to talk about. David says maybe hot fudge cake at Bob's Big Boy in Toluca Lake. Yeah, we can work it out, David. Just let me know when you're in town, okay? The end of February, I got some people coming out. We're going to work that out as well. So absolutely. Dollar Tree is bringing their prices up too, from $1 to $1.25. Now there's a real tell. Jacob, that's a real tell right there. You see what I mean? At a time that's so hard for so many, and including the businesses. My cat, my Cheshire cat, most of my impressions characters were around $200, but now the resin that I cast them in is more cold cast porcelain, if you want the boutique name for it, is more expensive. The paints are more expensive. And as a result, my artists have to charge more, because they've got to, their wage must reflect, those material changes. Yeah. Shipping's gone up. And so I've started to, for the cat, it's going to cost $10 to ship because I want to ship it priority to you. And of course, the post office just raised it to 9 something. I don't even know why. And I can't put the cat in an envelope. I'm sorry. I got to put the cat in a box so that he gets to you safely. And so yeah, yeah. Good thing he's very light. He doesn't weigh much. So because he doesn't, but I could send him based on weight, but then he could be floating in space for a while. And we really don't want your package with your sweet little kitty cat when we finally ship them out to go to Egypt if you live in Colorado. Just not a good idea. We want it to get to Colorado. And that's one thing about priority shipping. It's only 2 or 3 days, and they give you that extra attention so that you get it when when it's shipped. So we've got to take these extra precautions now, because with COVID, there are challenges. The post office, I was going to ship the ghosts over December. They said, no, 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 no. Wait till January, wait till late January. And if you can wait a little bit later, do so, because it's crazy in our offices with less people, less fully trained people. You could find it lost. And with the hitchhiking ghost, that is not an option. So priority mail, you paid for, and I thank you for it. And those ghosts are out. I only have one set of ghosts left to ship, and that's to my friend Greg. And I've been reaching out because I want to double check his address. Many of you downsized, shifted, moved away, moved from this way, moved to that way. And I would hate to send your prize winning ghosts to the wrong address. So I called every one of you on the phone to find out if your address has changed, and I cannot reach my friend Greg. So I'm going to email him and text him and message him and what I call Shawshank him, so I can find out if the address I have for him is correct before I ship the last ghosts out. There are 2 or 3 that said they wanted to pick them up because they didn't want them to be in the mail. So they're going to arrange a way to pick up and have those ghosts in their hot little hands. And that's just the way it is, you got to be a little cautious if it's something extremely valuable, or pay so that they take extra care. So that's the deal. And thank you, Jacob. That's something, isn't it? Walt never envisioned an expensive resort in Anaheim. Yes, indeed. You are so right. He envisioned a resort in Florida, never saw it. One of the working men or working women in his or her family, not the wealthy of the world. And Walt never got to see his vision in Florida, which is why Disneyland is so precious. Okay. We have parks now in Hong Kong, Japan, Shanghai, Florida, Paris, blah, blah, blah. So my point is, you need to nurture Disneyland. You need to, my opinion is, you preserve what Walt had. Now, the argument is that the young don't appreciate the retro. They don't appreciate the 50s, 60s when Walt did this. But this is not true. I have so many young people in their 20s, in their teens, that love the look of the 50s. And if you've seen the designs for the new downtown Disney area, it looks like the old Tomorrowland, doesn't it? Google those pictures. I should have popped that up and should have maybe showed you that today. But they look like the Tomorrowland, old Tomorrowland. And that's what I kind of feel, is that you should uncover the Mary Blair mural, which is still there, and you should bring Tomorrowland back to its retro stage. Because right now, it's kind of carnival ride to me. You can keep things like Buzz Lightyear. I know a lot of you love Buzz Lightyears, and Star Tours, even though I wish the Mighty Microscope would come back. Journey into, the Monsanto journey into inner space. But, but bring the rocket ships back up and put them on top. Stop worrying about it. Takes time to get on them, because this is a carnival ride down below. And then you can keep your Space Mountain and all these other things, but put that look back. And then I really, really agree with many of you who say that building that used to be the Carousel of Progress needs to be the Carousel of Progress again. Florida has the Carousel of Progress. This needs to be the Carousel of Progress with some of the early stuff that Walt did, but now we go into our current future, or what our future is going to be, because my goodness, how cool would that be? You remember the old Carousel of Progress had ovens that opened and cooked the meal and all that. But now They never conceived of a phone as big as your wallet. They never had an idea of robots delivering food. There are some super cool things that could happen in the Carousel of Progress if they brought it back. So that's what I think needs to happen with Tomorrowland, a complete revamping, take it back to what Walt saw, because it's the only place that you get to see what Walt envisioned and the way Walt envisioned it. Now, many people, and we talked about this on my Zoom call, many people use that Walt wanted change line to their advantage, meaning it's not necessarily correct. Okay? And by that, it means that Walt didn't plan on dying. Who does? Okay? And I don't think he wants you to make the sponsor the predominant thing on your building. You may remember the old Small World, where Small World was the big words, and then sponsored by Bank of America was as you were leaving. Thank you, Bank of America. You went in, little bubble, Bank of America made this possible, blah, blah, blah. And that I like. Sponsoring a ride to get it made is smart. Walt was smart. But you don't need it on the front. We don't need to know that the marketplace is Starbucks marketplace. Starbucks could be little word, or on the, but the marketplace needs to be Main Street. My opinion. Again, this is all my opinion, because why? It's my channel. So this is what I'm seeing about how I think you need to bring it back. And when you improve like you did the Haunted Mansion. All right. The Haunted Mansion was created at a time when certain things were available and certain technology was not available. Enter the Bride now. They've upgraded. Now you get to see the Bride, which we've heard all about when we first saw the Haunted Mansion, but now we get to see her, and it's super cool. And the Hatbox Ghost, which you've all said is amazing. And the guy who made it happen is also amazing. And that's progress. Okay. That is progress within the confines of Disneyland. You can improve Space Mountain because technology has changed. You can improve and create the Carousel of Progress because technology has changed. You could bring back the flying saucers. My favorite ride, by the way, and do it the way that it was. 2 people in the ride on a jet thing, but now you don't need computers as big as the Taj Mahal to house the computer system. You can do it in a chip. So those flying saucers would kick it. Believe me, those of you who never got to ride those don't know what you're missing. And those of you who got to ride those know exactly what you're missing. And it wasn't Luigi's tires. We're going to ignore Luigi's tires because that was a ridiculous, stupid, dumb ride. So this one, 2 people, look it up. Bob Gurr designed it. It's beautiful. I drive poor Bob Gurr, Disney legend Bob Gurr, crazy because I keep begging them to put in Tomorrowland the little flying saucer ride. I know it would create lines. I get that. But the submarines do too. And look at how they improve the submarines. You're not choking on the gas fumes now because they're environmentally friendly. That is all cool. The show may be questionable, but the point is that you can improve Disneyland and make it grow within the confines of Walt because we don't have Walt anymore, so we can remember Walt Disney. You see? Florida, we love it. We love Walt Disney World, but Walt was never there. You can't walk in Walt's imagined footsteps at Walt Disney World. As much as we love you, Walt Disney World, you didn't get that opportunity. Disneyland did. And in Disneyland, you can walk in Walt's footsteps. You can actually walk out of the back of the castle and recreate the photo you all love of Walt walking. And you've heard me say this before. So this is what I feel. I feel you can improve things within the confines of what Walt envisioned. And that means you shouldn't have to walk past Country Bears to get to Star Wars. Star Wars really should have been in California Adventure Park. It has no business being in Disneyland. My opinion, and I love Star Wars. Star Wars is my jam. Star Wars changed my life. Just think you ought to keep to what he had in mind. Preserve it. You got all these other parks to grow into these fancy, smancy, huge rides. But this is a jewel box of a little place. The place that Walt actually walked. His feet hit the pavement. His eyes envision what you're seeing. And I think we're missing out when we don't get to see what he saw, and you don't get the chance to show your children what he saw. And maybe it wouldn't appeal to everybody, but then maybe you could bring the price down. You know, like Joe said, you can bring the price down and make it more affordable so people can see what Walt saw, feel what Walt felt, be a part of Walt's life because he's no longer with us. Okay? All right, enough of that. But that's how I feel. That's how Terry feels, okay? And that's what I've said. And then I think you bring an a la carte price back so people with small children or people who don't necessarily ride the rides can still get in the park and enjoy the park for so many other levels, because that's what Walt was about. He wanted every age to be able to join it, every type of person to be able to enjoy it. And it's hard when you're paying for the whole friggin' ticket. You're not a ride rider, but you got to pay for all the rides anyway. You know what I mean? I think you could do the same. And if you want to limit the hours, you could limit the hours. But, you know, let's take a person who has a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and most of the time they're too small to get on any of the rides. And Toontown is a shell of itself. So maybe you pick 1 or 2 rides in the park that your kids can do, and you buy those so your kids has a sample. And then when they get bigger, maybe you do buy the bigger ticket. But I really think that would be a really good, but that's the Imagineering Bring at work. I used to belong to Carolwood Club years ago, so I'll look forward to watching. Yes, Joseph. Carolwood is brilliant. And out here in Southern California, we have Walt's barn and Walt's combine car that he recreated to put on the original trains when they were Retlaw Railroad, meaning Walter Retlaw is Walter spelled backwards. Anyway, Retlaw Railroad was the railroad company that was first leased out to the Disney parks, owned by Walt to be the train, and then later it became a Disney train. But and if I've got that totally wrong, you'll get the real story on the Carolwood event. They know that detail. But the point is, there's a barn there, and they discovered, the Carolwood barn discovered this combine car in a ditch somewhere. And again, I'm not going to tell you too much because it'll probably be discussed on this thing, but it's been refurbished and you can walk through it. So it's really cool. And it's near Griffith Park in Southern California. So they're open the third Sunday of every month, if COVID allows. Okay. So you can check them out. They're really amazing, and you're going to love it, because a lot of time legends just pop in to visit and see it, because it's such a really good, comfy atmosphere. So if you haven't seen that, it's a must. It's an absolute must. I love Steve. He's the one that I grew up with. Exactly. Henson, Jim was the one I grew up with. And then I worked really close to Steve during Dinosaurs. He's a brilliant puppeteer and handpicked by, let's talk about the one main reason he should still be Kermit. He was handpicked by Jim. And that should mean something, right? That should mean something. Joe Penny says, and she's buying the train track to heaven. There he goes again. Bonnie says, that lay thing is so cool. I would love to learn something like that. So Bonnie, the program I used is called Procreate, and it's free. Okay, that's number 1, Procreate. So Pro, the word create, all one word. It's an app. You can find it on your app store. And then go to YouTube, and there's tons of ways people teaching. I still don't know enough. But there's tons of training there. And as I learn, I will be doing my version of classes on my Patreon page. That's in the future. Right now, I'm working on my behind the scenes tier, and then I will graduate to the training tier, and you guys will get trained on all kinds of things, from puppets to Procreate, all kinds of stuff there. But I'm learning it now. But just download it onto your tablet or your favorite tablet. Get your favorite drawing stylist and play with it. It takes a little, but then Procreate has their own training on Procreate, but also check YouTube, because a lot of times the person who makes the app, sometimes it gets a bit too technical for people like me. So I love looking on YouTube, because they're a lot more, in many cases, you can find your user-friendly person, can't you? Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, you can do it. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it, because technology and me, you know, I love the sound of the pencil on paper, and I love the smell of the clay. So I'm not a ZBrush sculptor. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Don't care to do it. I love what y'all do if you do digital sculpting, but it is not in my wheelhouse. I do don't like it. Okay. I want to feel it. I want to have the clay in my fingers. Okay. So it's important to me. It's just when I went to China, I created some amazing boxes for a company called Starling Watch. This guy created Apple. I think he didn't create Apple, but he was a creator for Apple, is what I'm trying to say. Slow down, Terry. He was a creator for Apple, and he is responsible, one of the many people that was responsible for our iPhones and our many people responsible for our iPhones and our computers and all of this, the iPads, all of that. He worked with Apple. But as many will tell you, they are used to working bits and bots. So those little O's and those little dash marks, whatever they mean, 001100, whatever. And so he never had the opportunity to create something tangible that he could feel, that he could hold, that he could experience. So when we met, his desire was to create something that he could hold in his hands. And let me see if I think, yes, I did. Here we go. But I don't have the actual, I am such a nut because I can't believe that I do not have that picture. Let me just look in my favorites real quick and see if it's in here, because that, see, I am, me and technology is I'm just going to say I am lacking, because it's just sad that I do not have that picture. It's just a shame that I have not grabbed this special picture. It just surprises me. It just surprises me terribly that sometimes I'm not as up on my libraries. You know how you can have lots of pictures, but when you go to find that one picture, you're like, flip, 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 flip. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? That's kind of what I'm doing now. Is trying to find these watch boxes, because to prove a point, he came with me, met with me, found me on Facebook, which is one of the reasons that you talk about what you do on Facebook and what you talk about on Facebook and YouTube, because you never know who's listening, who's watching, who's checking you out, and you just never know. So it's a great opportunity, because someone's going to reach out to you and say, hey, are you interested in doing a man cave for me? Would you speak at this podcast? Would you blah, 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 blah. So I'm just looking here to see if I can find this particular picture that I'm looking for. I know it's here. It's just a matter of finding it. Okay, I'm going to tap this one, and I'm going to put a heart on it. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to tap this one, and I'm going to put a heart on it. There we go. This will allow me to find them in a smaller gathering later. Okay, I found it. Yay for me. Okay, tap. Put a heart on it. Put a heart on it. Put a heart on it. Okay, there we go. See, I should have done this so that you poor people don't have to be continually wanting to, because I should put hearts on things that I think you guys would be very interested in seeing. And then I don't do that. And it's a shame, because then I go to my favorites and I can't find them. So here we go. Let's see if now they're in here. Yes, they are. Yippee-ki-yay! Okay, so this person was creating these watches, okay, and they do 1 million lights, and they're based on a story that he wrote, that each one is a time travel type watch. Each one does something in time. It's great. It's a great book. I illustrated the book, but he came to me and he asked me to look at that. That's another thing. but there it is. So I created these watch boxes for the watches that intersect, like you see here, and they have a portal. They were very challenging to make, very, very hard to create, and everyone is sculpted by hand in bas relief. And when the first box came off the assembly line, he would not let it go, because for the first time in his life, he was actually able to hold something in his hand that wasn't bits and bots. Are you following me? So this is what is me. This is what I love to do. So as I go the other direction, well, let me just drop this down so you're not taking a tour. Sometimes if you want to take a tour through my favorites. But anyway, this is the one I really wanted to give you an example. I work in wax. I love sculpting in wax. Many of you have wanted me to teach you how to sculpt in wax. But this is a bas relief piece that I did with my delicate little tools. This is one side of the box, and this is one of his characters, and this is the bad guy. I mean, I don't think I needed to tell you this, but this is kind of a steampunk style character based on the book, and this is one of the sides of the boxes. And then the character in the back over his shoulder has got a box, and inside the box is the watch, because this guy's goal was to collect all the watches so he could have ultimate power. But the point is that I do these one-of-a-kind prototypes, one-of-a-kind pieces for people. They pay me to create their vision. And for him, it was very exciting because he got to hold it in his hands. It's exciting to hold this phone, but so many are responsible for creating creating the iPhone and the iPad and all of that. That it's thousands of people who are proud of what they did, and we love them too for our smartphones. But this was his, all the time, and his guidance, and he held it like a small child, and it's great to feel something in your hand that you actually made. And so that's my life. I'm constantly holding, creating, and making stuff with clay to wax. Sometimes wax not. Wax is an amazing material. You can get super tiny with it. Like those of you who work in polymer clays know that when you start to go super, super small, it can be a challenge for you, because the components that make up the Sculpey and polymer clays is too big to get that small. In wax, it is not the case. So in the case here is a Peter Pan I did, and next to it is a dime. And look at the detail in the face and look at the dime. Okay? So he is tiny. But that is the beauty of having wax as your component. So sculpturally, that's what I do. Here is Cinderella's head, just to show you how lovely you can get and the size you can get with wax. It's an amazing material. What's holding her up is my Chavant clay. What's holding the number 2 pencil eraser up is my Chavant clay. That's what I usually work in first to do the roughs. But if you want to know more about that or see more about that, ask me on the AMA next Friday. Okay? But that's the way it is. There you go. So Bonnie, getting back to your question, which is here, the layer thing is a godsend. It's a godsend, because when you get really good at pushing up the layers and doing your sketches, it can actually move faster than you think, and will release the beast on your creativity, and things will come from there you never thought possible. So I really love digital sketching. It's not necessarily my go-to all the time when sketching, but it's definitely my go-to if I want to, like, for example, I could put in Rollies. Let's say I could put a sketch from Rolly, and I could sketch over it in a different color if I'm trying to alter the chess piece so it actually fits in the chess square. Because as you know, Rolly loves width, like the king's wings go out like this and the queen goes like this, and she actually crosses over into the other 2 chess squares. So when a chess person wants to move it, they knock over the other pieces. unsatisfactory. So I could actually do quick sketches to kind of think about what do I want to do to make her fit within the confines of the squares. And that would be a way to use the digital sketches. Another way to do it is just, for me, I just sculpt it, bend it around in clay until I'm happy. Bend, 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 bend. Do it all live. But when I was in China, they could not comprehend that this is how I did it. They really thought I did it in the computer and then sent it to a 3D printer, none of which I am involved with at all. Seriously, if I do it, I have to go to my clients that do 3D printing, because my stuff is all by hand. Yeah, I do it by hand. And I love to teach people who have done it all by computer what it feels like by hand. It's life-changing for them, and can be life-changing for you to feel it, smell it, experience it. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And that's why I want to teach some classes in it, because I'm really good at it. Yeah, really good at it. Tokyo Disneyland is actually less expensive than Disneyland. Yeah, I know. And a lot of people in Tokyo did, before the passes no longer existed, have passes in the US and in Tokyo. Yeah, I thought about doing it the reverse way. Tokyo also has a really beautiful system. I love their transportation system, which is goes to not only the Disney hotels, but non-Disney hotels like the Hilton. And to stay there, it can be really inexpensive. So need a little protein. So to stay there is really inexpensive too. I mean, it's just amazing. And who doesn't love that monorail? If you haven't been to Tokyo, you got to check out that monorail. Mwah! Beautiful. The buses are cool too, aren't they? Aren't they, Joe? Every little detail in Tokyo makes your heart just go, boom, 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 boom. You're just so happy. What a great place. Oh, such a great place. Yeah. Yeah. I love Tokyo Disneyland. Jacob says, thank you so much for all the help. I will keep on practicing. Good for you. Just like Dory says, you keep on swimming. That's right. You keep on swimming, keep on swimming. Then I usually say a little to the left, a little to the right. Keep on swimming, keep on swimming. Put one foot in front of the other. Stuff like that. See, you got me going. The point is, you'll get this. And you can trace and then fade that layer of the tracing, eliminate the picture, put a new layer above your tracing that you did, and start to draw your character over that pose. And now you've traced, but now you're not tracing. Now you are designing. You see? So practice each level, and I promise I will be getting those trainings out there. It's just a matter of one step at a time, because this chess set is I just got to get it done, guys. I just got to get it done. I'm on piece number 3, and I'm working hard to get it done. In between taxes that have to be paid, by the way. So all in good time. You can only work as fast as you can work, right? So I've got to tell myself sometimes, slow down, kid. You need rest. What is your most valued treasure from working in the business? Ooh, that's a good question, Angie. You're on fire today, girl. There's several. Okay. Let me show you one that means a lot to me. Oh, there's so many. Oh my God. I'm like, there's so many. If I turn the camera this way, it's a little dark, but right, I'm going to move my finger. Right there is a mask from a lady that taught me masks at Imagineering, named Peggy Van Pelt. She's gone now, and she's wonderful. And there's the mask I did that dethroned her. So next time, I don't have a camera set up, but next time I will, let me just swing this around. And I don't think my Camera 3 really grabs it. No, it kind of does. Grabs a little bit. This mask right here, this is the one I built, and this is the one that she made. It's not her best, but she was a mask maker. She kept winning and beating everybody in Imagineering because her masks were so elegant. And then I made the one up top, and it's got all kinds of little creatures in it. So I'll set up a camera and show it to you. If I can remember, I'll do that Monday. But that's valuable to me, is this mask right here. And then if I go back to camera 1 and I walk over, just give me a minute. I'm just coming back behind because it's a little easier for me. But when I was first invited to the sculpture department to be a part of the sculpture department at Imagineering, I got to do one of my favorite characters, Godzilla. And the guys at Mapo, when I left, gave me this Godzilla. Isn't he adorable? Anyway, this is my actual Godzilla that I did for Tokyo Second Gate. And they made a casting of him. And then a friend of mine painted him and put the teeth in and everything. And I have him here, and I just love him. He's just really fun. Kind of hard to see because from the side he looks like he's doing, but his eyes are actually, right here. So this is my favorite Godzilla. I love the little skull and the big face. This is I took my influence from the Billiken models. I don't know if you know Billiken, but that's one of my favorite guys. One of my absolute favorite guys. But it just grows and grows and grows. I love having built the mermaid tail. I got to meet a lot of cool people and got to swim all over the world in that tail. And that tail should not exist. She is over 40 years old, and she should be gone. But because of the way we built her, she's still hanging on because this material usually only lasts 10 or 15 years. But it's held up really well. So when my husband said he wanted her not to be in my background, I said she deserves to be in my background because she is, let me just, there we go. There we go. She is very, she's a special lady. She's made to fit me. She's a brilliant piece of art. And if I can ever find that film of me swimming in Catalina with her, which is not great, but it was like one of my first practice sessions. I got better. But it was great. I also was in with the Houston Symphony Orchestra. I did a poster in that mermaid tail. So yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot. But Dragon's Lair is one of my absolute favorites. I worked really hard, Angie, to get Dragon's Lair. And anything that has to do with that, and anytime people send me photos, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. And then I did a commercial called the Foster Farms Chicken Commercial. I've been doing that since 1993. These two mixed up chickens in a Belvedere. And the people in props always give me a prop to have. And one of my favorite props is the driver's license from that film, or from that commercial, where the birds are trying to get a driver's license and be farmed fresh. I also have a bobblehead that they made, and I made stuffed chickens. You can go to fosterfarms.com, click on Foster Imposters, and I still think Foster Imposters. So click on fosterfarms.com, go to Foster Imposters, and I think you can still order my chickens there. And they're darling. They're really wild and crazy, and they're really cute, and I designed them for the company, so that was fun. That's been fun. I have a treasured book. I think it's called, let me look and see. I think it's on the other side. Animation. Yeah. The Illusion of Life, Disney Animation, and it's a big thick book. It's signed by probably about 3 dozen Disney legends and Imagineer. When my mother was an Imagineer, she walked around and got it signed for me. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. But I think my favorite thing from working in the business is the people that I've met and the conversations that I've had. So from Bill Murray punking me in Ghostbusters to sitting down and having a conversation with George Lucas on the Captain EO set, learning about Michael Jackson from Michael Jackson himself, being introduced to Elizabeth Taylor and having a chance to speak with her, being able to tell Eli Wallach how much I loved his character Tuco in Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and so on. Meeting Sidney Poitier in Venice when walking for the breast cancer walk in 2004. I mean, it just doesn't stop in 2001. Sitting on the stage and chatting with Judi Dench about her career. me, another actress, and Judy, sitting in the back area of the LA Book Fair, speaking with Tim Burton, Marty Sklar and Tony Baxter, Michael Broggie, Bob Gurr, Herbie Ryman, Ken Anderson, Ward Kimball, etc., 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 each coming and sitting at my table and really loving what I do and telling me they were just dazzled by me. I mean, think about it. Someone telling you how good you are, and it's someone who you have admired from a very long time. Blaine Gibson. Wow. Oh my God. And Harriet Burns. Mark Davis and Alice Davis. I mean, this life is weird, isn't it? I look in the mirror and go, what happened? But that's what happens when you just don't stop. You be about others. You care about others. You don't always gimme. You go with something on the table. So you've heard me say I want to meet Clint Eastwood. I'm willing to give to his charity. It may not be a lot, but I don't want Clint Eastwood just to sit down with me because I deserve it. That's not fair. He's had a huge, long history. He has a great life, and I want to give back. So I'm willing to donate to his charity if he gives me 15 minutes of his time so I can tell him how amazing he is. What a change he made to me in my life. I want to meet Clint Eastwood. I met Eli Wallach, and I met, meeting Eli Wallach was, I spoke that I wanted to meet him because I love him as an actor. And 2 weeks later, I was on a movie set as an extra, meeting him. Unbelievable. He was so touched by what I had to say, which is in itself surreal, guys, okay? That he sat with us in a holding area for extras. See, extras don't get a place like a dressing room. That's for the people who have lines. But we are in a holding area. Extra, get to meet other people, talk, read the paper, usually freeze to death because there's no walls on the place. Sometimes there are. But Eli actually didn't go to his trailer. He sat amongst all of the extras because he was so touched with what I had to say about how much I love him as an actor. And there were so many people who were atmosphere or extras at that time who love him, but were too shy to talk to him. And you guys know me, those of you who know me, I am not shy anymore. Eli came with his wife, sat in this group with all of us during a filming of a movie called Mama's Boy. I was atmosphere on set for 2 days. And I remember one of the cutest pictures ever was, do you remember that commercial where all the Vikings are kind of running towards you and there's a big giant Viking, full beard, horned, I don't remember if he has a horned hat or not, but he goes, "What's in your wallet?" Huge, a massive man was on this. He played a homeless guy in Mama's Boy. And he shrunk down to about 5 years old. You think you could introduce me to Eli? Can you imagine this giant man looking at you and going, "Would you mind? Can you introduce me? He's one of my favorite actors and I'm shy." So I brought him over and I said, "Eli, you got some fans here." And I introduced each and every person. This person wants to tell you, this person wants to tell you, this person wants to tell you. And Eli just loved it. He just loved it. But so did they. So if you see someone that you care about, see someone that you've loved their performance, don't get all shy on the people. Also, don't say hello in things like the bathroom, okay? Have some respect. Wait till they step out, walk up to them and say, "I'm terribly sorry. I just want you to know I love your work. And just wanted to tell you, I love what you do. I see every movie." Whatever you want to say, say it quickly and say, "Don't mean to intrude." For example, if you see them in a restaurant, wait till they're having dessert and then walk up to them during the dessert and say, "I noticed you were eating, didn't want to bother you then, but I really wanted to, I feel compelled to come up and tell you how much I love your work." I don't think that an actor is going to be mean. And if they are, they need to check their brain, okay? This is what Sidney Poitier said. You are a representative of your art. So to be mean and nasty ruins it for all of us in that art. So you always want to have your best self. Actor, you don't want to think that you don't put your pants on one leg at the, one leg on at a time. You want to remember who made you. And the person who made you is people like us who love you and love watching you. If you're going to be mean and nasty to us, we'll stop seeing your movies, and then you could watch your notoriety. Because don't think that the fans don't have the power. We do. And we're not going to wield it angrily, but we do want to have the opportunity to reach out to you and say, if it's not too much trouble, can I get a picture? But basically, you just want to go up and tell them, how you feel about them. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just so many people I live in Hollywood. So just so many people that you get to do it, but you do it in a respectful way. They all love to hear it. Who doesn't want to hear that you love what they do? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, you do it with respect, you do it with love, but that's my biggest treasure is the meeting the people, getting to go to Ernie Hudson's house every other Sunday during Ghostbusters for a barbecue, because he loves to do barbecue. He loves to make barbecue. Such an, getting cookies from Sigourney Weaver in their long black and red checkered coat that her mother had sent her, and she shared it with the cast and crew of Ghostbusters. Those are the things that I'm finding I cherish, And Angie, you may find this surprising, but at MouseCon, there's several people from Terry's tribe that came to see me, and we gathered after I was finished with MouseCon, and we had frozen custard, and it was great to get to know them. Yeah. So I love it. I went to a celebration for one of my tribe members, Holly Mack, and meeting her husband, and her children is something I'll never forget, So getting to be, do things for Bob and Rose Burdine. I'll never forget it. Bob had the mayor come out and give me awards that I still have on my wall. There are people out there that are just jewels, just gems. And I cherish every one of you out there. And that's really my favorite thing. My favorite thing is getting to know you, which is one of the reasons I'm pushing you all the time to join the tribe. Believe me, it ain't the $5, okay, per month. But I need to be present too. I'm a very busy lady. This helps me to be present. This helps me to know that you've got skin in the game, because when things are free, sometimes people just don't behave well, do they? But when you have skin in the game, you treat each other properly. Just own it if you're that person, okay? But this is what I was taught from people. They charge for their classes, so you show up. Because we're not just saying we're busy people, we are busy. And if the truth be told, don't give us a chance to shut this social media down and spend our lives with ourselves, because there's many artists out there who just won't do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to work out there in social media. I don't want anyone to know my life, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but those of us who do. And it's because we want to help you. Okay. You've heard Jacob say he wants to keep practicing. You've heard other people say, they want to learn some of these things, and it's a scary field to learn something new. But if you've got someone who says, I've got your back, I'm not going to judge you, I'm here to help you, and we mean it, I mean it, then there you go. Okay. So the tribe is huge, but the tribe is also private. And that's very important, because sometimes we need to talk about stuff that shouldn't be out here in public. Just not cool, respectful, as I've said before. So there you go. Didn't think I was going to get that deep on such a great question, huh, Angie? But it's a good one. It's a real good one. Michelle Dwinell says, I've always loved working on floats. I've done it since high school. I remember your float, Terry. So cool. Thank you. I got to tell you, Michelle, look up the Burbank Tournament of Roses. You got to put Burbank in front of it, but you would love working with them. Talk to Steve, tell him you know me, and you can work on it as early as right now. They start working on their float all year round because it's about their city. Oh, you'll love these people. You will love these people. They are charming and wonderful. Well, hello there. Vum today. This person always pops in and says this. If you know what this means, hopefully it is something very kind. That's the way I look at it. Thanks for joining us. Wow, it's exciting to see someone from that far away. When you did the Rose Float, did you get a chance to meet the amazing designer Raul Rodriguez? We were friends, Stephen. We were friends. We were friends, and we were rivals. So we both met and absolutely went crazy for each other at Imagineering, at Disney Imagineering. And then we became rivals. Da, 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 da. And you know how fun it is to battle with someone that you love, you know, someone that you just admire. And we were like this all the time. So Dream Flight, the one with the dragon, you have to have a certain size when you present to the Tournament of Roses committee, the Association of the Tournament of Roses. When you present, you have to have it look a certain way, okay? It's got to be certain dimensions on a side of paper. Well, Raul Rodriguez, because he was Raul Rodriguez, didn't have to ever be in those boundaries. And so he always did, you know, he was doing so many floats for so many companies, and he would do these lavish illustrations and drawings. But the one thing he could never get past was that the self-built floats got to name their floats first. Along comes Dream Flight, about a young boy who meets a baby dragon, and they go skittering off the boulevard together for a Reach for the Wind event, Tournament of Roses 1996. Well, he was absolutely livid when he brought in his float, among all the others that he had done, and one of them was titled Dream Flight. And he tried everything to take that name away from the city of Burbank. But because of the rules, the association said, no, you need to change it. They will not change it. You can reach out to the designer, and to his surprise, I said, no, Raul, that's ours. We're going to keep it. And get ready, we're going to take one of your awards away. We don't know which one, but it won't be the founders, which he cannot do because he doesn't do self-built. He didn't do self-built designs. He was always winning the big prizes. Y'all know this. And we said, we're planning on relieving you, O King, of one of your jewels. And we got to do that, and it was great. It was great. He is a lovely man. He was a lovely man. I'm so sorry we lost him. But yeah, we were really good friends, and he was always, I did a little show called The Puzzle Place on KCET. They created a character for me that was a little artist. So sweet, these guys. Everyone was so nice on that show. Anyway, he came in because he was designing the Puzzle Place float for someone like Festival Artists or whatever the company was. And he said, I'm still angry at you for Dream Flight. But yeah, what a great guy. What a great guy. Thank you, Stephen, for bringing that to my memory again. I really appreciate it. Did you know that they are making a biopic on a biopic? Yes, I did, on Weird Al Yankovic. And get this, Daniel Radcliffe from the Harry Potter movies is going to be playing him. I heard that. That is really strange and bizarre, isn't it? It's going to be on the Roku channel. Yes, I did hear of it because I don't know if you noticed, but I can't remember which subscription channel, whatever, had the 20-year anniversary, 20-year anniversary for Harry Potter, and Daniel was on it, and he was kind of alluding to that, and then my husband came in and said, guess what he's going to play? It'll be interesting, won't it? You can't not see it, right? Jacob, you got to see it, right? Yeah, I want to see it. I want to check it out. I was at a restaurant in Hollywood, and Weird Al was a couple tables down from us, and we think he was on a first date that was not going well. So we felt for him. It looked like he had made a serious mistake in his dating choices, and we all know what that's like. But it felt like a first date. He looked like he was in serious pain, and we walked by, and we told him, you know, we feel for you, baby. You know, we stood behind her and went, we feel for you, and we love you. You know, so wow. But the poor guy was really trying to make it an entertaining date, and it was not going well. I told you I live in Hollywood. Practically a story about everybody sometimes. Do you think when the Star Wars hotel opens, they will incorporate Mando and Boba? I don't know. Because they're having a devil of a time right now finding staff. A lot of people don't want to work there because they'll get no sunshine. It's not going the way Disney wants it to go, this Star Wars hotel. For one thing, it's flippin' expensive. And honestly, guys, how many of you go to Walt Disney World to stay in the hotel all day? Anybody? Post in the comments. If that's your idea of going to Walt Disney World, is to pick a nice hotel and live there every day, this is not why people go. I mean, you may go because this is an attraction now, okay? But I don't know that you're going to spend that money enough to sustain spending that money. I mean, you might go try it one time, stay there, check it out, do what they do, kind of get that starship experience or whatever, if that's your thing. But you don't go to the hotel to live there in the hotel, away from the parks, and make that your whole experience, do you? Please post in the comments if you do. Because I am totally not digging that. And I love Star Wars. I just can't imagine you're staying indoors. I don't get it. You got to help me. You got to help me with this. Why would you do it? What's the appeal? Because they're having trouble getting staff. Staff doesn't want to staff doesn't want to spend day after day, month after month in a bottle that gets no sun. They don't want it. They're having trouble. That was something I almost talked about today. Now I get to. But they're having real trouble, guys. Now, and I will sometimes say, let's take Disney Paris, for example. I won't stay on property because there's a great hotel off property that has a shuttle to Disneyland, and I don't live in my hotel room. I have no desire to be in my hotel room 24 hours a day, several days. That's not why you go to Paris. Maybe it is. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Does this Star Wars thing sound like something you want to do? It's not like it's a couple of bucks. It's expensive. So maybe if you're the Lopez brothers, the tall basketball players who are my friends who would love to do this, I bet you they'd do it. But I think they do it once and not do it again. I think that's your challenge. His hotel needs repeat. And at these prices, I don't see that happening. But you tell me here. Tell me if I'm mistaken and let me know, because I've been mistaken before, I thought the Genie Pass was just like total failure, okay? That who would get the Genie Pass? But my friend Holly Mack points out that if you have two little kids and limited time and you're coming in from, let's say, back east or where she lives, that you want to have optimum ability for your kids to get on as many rides as possible, especially if your child is that height, right? She made me see where a Genie Pass could be a benefit, not a hindrance. I was only thinking from someone living in California, but she made me see there are people who could really benefit from the Genie Pass, for real. So I'm asking you, if I'm wrong about this Star Wars hotel, please let me know, because I look at it and go, no. I don't want to be trapped inside. What if you're claustrophobic? That ain't happening, right? Michelle says, my city, South Pasadena, won an award this year. Yes, indeed. And I think South Pasadena is self-built, aren't they, Michelle? I think I had them in the house when I was teaching. I have never been prouder because they passed down. I taught all six self-builts in 1995. And they today still use my techniques. And you can't tell. That's all I wanted, was for them to be able to get their hat in the ring. Not be because they didn't have the skills that the others did. So I taught them the skills. Who do you think you are by putting the cat in the box? I know, right? Michael, you're funny. I can't even pronounce that word. A Valentine Day treat from Jacob. 2 jokes. Who always has a date on Valentine's Day? A calendar. Oh, you are good. Jacob, you're good. When are you going to join the tribe, Jacob? I got to put you up against Bella. She's our joke teller on there. It'd be fun to see you go at, see who can tell the best joke. What did one Hershey bar say to the other who arrived long past their date time? You're chocolate. I'm going to tell Lynette that one. Thank you. Thank you for those, Jacob. Did you guys get married on Valentine's Day? I have several people who got married on Valentine's Day and said, mistake. Really said it was a mistake because everything's more expensive because it's the 14th. Big mistake, they said. But I said to her that you don't have to actually, you can change the date because it's your love, and you and your love can do it on different days. So we do it on the 16th. Our Valentine's Day, my husband and I, is the 16th. Why? Because we can take advantage of the chocolate sales afterwards. My favorite candy, however, is C's. So we take the heart box that he gave me years ago, and we just refill it each year. So he goes with me after the rush on the 16th, and we go in and we fill it with what I like, the C's chocolate. Once a year, I have C's chocolate. And then I play a game with myself to see how long I can make it last. Longest record has been 6 months. Pretty good. It's because not a lot of coconut. I grew up with the Disneyland of the 70s and 80s. It was so dynamic, says Joe. Everything was moving. We've lost that. Yes, you're right. And here's the thing that seems to be a trend that Disney's liking, where they put you in a ride with goggles and stuff happens. And I don't think that should be Disneyland. I think you should see a lot of practical, because you got Imagineers that got real cool stuff. However, that being said, forgive me chewing the peanuts while talking to you, but I need some protein. And being on camera for so long, I don't get to eat breakfast in front of you. But so I always just grab these little nibbles. But the one thing I will say is that if you ever get to Shanghai and you can ride their Pirates of the Caribbean ride, it's phenomenal. A very good use of computer-generated images and practical combined. Amazing. But it takes a lot of space, and China is big, thank God. So you're going to have to go to China to see that. I don't see that happening over here unless Florida has some space, because Disneyland, But it's huge. I mean, it's huge. And it is amazing. Yeah. I think the Imagineers could have been done better with the boat. The boat looks like a cereal box. They tore the face off of it and just put seats in it. So it's not the most attractive ride vehicle, but the ride is incredible. I rode it twice, I think, maybe 3 times. I just was so impressed with it. I didn't think I would be, but it's amazing. It's really it really is a good blend between practical and CG, which is what I've always said you should do with computer generated is mix it with practical, like in the movie Iron Man. Oh my gosh, that movie's so good because CG, computer generated flying, and you may remember the black hole and them trying to make things fly. A movie like that, they could remake that movie using CG, and we probably would love it. But also they had practically built the Iron Man suit so that Robert Downey Jr. had something to hold, that people had, because actors with the green screen, it's not as fun as if they got something tangible to hold. So Pirates does that really, really well in China. So if you get to see that, that's really, really good, because it kind of combines both. China has hit and misses. Hate their castle. Their castle looks like they took 5 artists and gave each artist a wall, and they got to do what they want. So it's not a cohesive castle. It's big, but it just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. As one unit, it just doesn't work. But China likes it. So who am I? Good afternoon, Deanna. Good to see you. One of the things I'm absolutely really impressed about Disney World and Disneyland is all the lands just bind together, kind of like Jacob's going to say, like they don't overlap on each other. I think that's amazing, except for when they put in Star Wars. Yeah, you can see the spires from the other lands. No, not allowed. Walt never would let you do that. And if you're coming over the off ramp and going to the parking structure, you can see that they didn't finish the back of the rock work. Walt would have never allowed that to happen. It's true. Absolutely true. So, also, I don't like going through Country Bears or Toy Story to get to Star Wars Land. I just don't think it just ruins the mood. I think they could have done. In fact, somebody said in Walt Disney World, it would have been great if Toy Story had done the rocket ship pointed towards Galaxy's Edge, and you walk through the rocket ship as if flying. You know, how clever. You guys are good. Anyway, I thought that would have been a great way to do the transition from Star Wars into Star Wars from Toy Story Land, because it's a little bit of a jarring walk through. Works a little better off of Frontierland, off of Big Thunder, because they kind of did rock work and the rock work kind of melds into it. That transition is my favorite transition, but honestly, spires are too high. We see them from the rest of the park. No. That shouldn't be done. So as much as you love it, Jacob, there are things in there that they could have done better. Yeah. Congratulations. I'm glad you love it. But me, a few things I went, why did they do that? Ouch. I'm being poked. But that's the case. Michelle says, I agree with your comments about Walt's wonderful Disneyland. The saucers would be awesome. Do you feel like I do that WDW gets more of the love and sometimes Disneyland gets overlooked? Makes me sad. I don't know that they're overlooked, but Walt Disney World wants to be the hub, meaning all things that happen with the parks go through them, at least in the United States. And they, and that's not, that's not right. And that's not true. Okay. You need a group of people on the West Coast to make sure Disneyland hums right. And you need people on the East Coast that make Walt Disney World, because Disneyland cannot or should not dictate to WDW and the Magic Kingdom. And WDW, should not dictate to Disneyland, because you both are different collectors on the coast. Okay. On the West Coast, and I've spoken this before. I've spoken about this before. But on the West Coast, you guys are sticklers for what's called on model. You do not necessarily love characters created, Peter Pan, Cinderella, with exorbitant changes in their personalities when it comes to sculptures, especially. You want it to look like the character. You want it to feel like the character. You want it to be the character on the West Coast more so. I'm not saying everybody feels this way. You guys still love those vinyl Masons, which I just don't get. But for the most part, the West Coast is really hardcore about it looking like the character, proportions, everything. If we jump over to the East Coast, Walt Disney World and all that implies, the East Coast likes that Mickey Minnie set where it looks like they've just got paint splashed over them. No distinct features. It's just sort of the silhouette, and they got all kinds of colors like thrown on them. Not big here on the West Coast. Huge on the East Coast, okay? Sometimes you can play with the proportions. You can play with the look. You can change a few things. But East Coast is going to be more forgiving than the West Coast. So Walt Disney World is trying so hard to say they're the people who should make decisions for both of these parks when they really shouldn't. You should have, don't try and save money by, Walt Disney World will send their monorail over to Disneyland for sale. And the first thing the Disneyland people will go, that is not our monorail. If we want a Walt Disney World monorail, we'll go to Walt Disney World to get it. You follow me? Give us Disneyland's monorail. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Same with the Haunted Mansion. Okay. This is what people need to realize, okay? We love Animal Kingdom, okay? But Animal Kingdom items in Disneyland, no. Mm-mm. You cannot bring your Walt Disney World product and to the knowledgeable collector is going to go, no, I don't want to buy Walt Disney World and Disneyland. I want to buy Disneyland and Disneyland. Okay. And I want to go to Walt Disney World to buy Walt Disney World stuff. Very distinct two things. In fact, the uneducated, unknowledgeable person who comes from Walt Disney World and looks at Disneyland and goes, wow, what's to love? It's so small. Doesn't get it. All right. Hasn't studied. You know, in Ghostbusters, you didn't study. Hasn't studied. And listen, guys, you know, this is where Walt walked. This is why you come to Disneyland. This is where Walt walked. This is what Walt envisioned back in 1955. You're going to see what Walt envisioned. Okay, you're going to see it. Maybe you see the drawings. Maybe you've got the books. But now you get to walk in the thing that he fought so hard to create. And don't think it was easy. It was not. It wasn't a huge hit when it first started, okay? But he never gave up, and he got the best of the best. And they all came together to create which park? West Coast Park, Disneyland. So you guys, when you come over from Walt Disney World, you treat it with respect, okay? You understand what it is. Yes, it may be small and intimate. It's not huge, but Walt made it. Walt's hands touched some of this stuff. His feet actually hit roads that you get to walk. Don't treat that lightly, okay? It's a reason that Disneyland people get a little testy when you start to diss our family, the Disneyland park, okay? You come over and you realize when you walk through that gate, that's you're opening into a world that Walt saw. That train, that floral mouse, those tunnels, that city hall, that flagpole, that main street, that castle, which many of you say is too small. Just stop. Okay, Walt Disney World, don't do that. We don't go in and dish your park, and if we do, we shouldn't. Okay, I love Walt Disney World for different reasons. But Walt touched Disneyland. I don't know how much I have to emphasize this, and I'm doing it in the third hour. What's the matter with me? Right? Many of you who listen to this may not get this far in this talk, but you need to understand. Don't go walking into Disneyland all too cool for school like you're not going to love it. Don't come if that's the way you're going to behave. Realize that the things that are in Disneyland, from the horse-drawn buggy, the double-decker bus, and that fire truck, were Walt's ideas. The man himself. Don't forget who made this possible for you on all coasts. He didn't get to see where his company went, but he did get to see Disneyland, and he did get to walk Disneyland, and he did get to love Disneyland. Every minute of every day of his life. This was his dream, and he got to share it with everybody, and it worked. So come to Disneyland with respect, and please don't let it be lost, because once it's gone, it's gone. And we don't want to erase Walt. We want to keep Walt. We want to cherish Walt, and Disneyland's the place you can do it. You can love him all you want in Walt Disney World. But the fact is, you can actually recreate the picture you all know and love walking out the back of that castle. You can dress up in your cosplay Walt Disney outfit and walk through, and you will have that exact picture today in 2022. So thank you, Michelle, for saying this, because I don't think Disneyland gets overlooked. I just don't think people realize what they're looking at. They walk in and they don't know the history. They don't know the history of the wishing well and the figures above the wishing well. Why are they there? Why are they stacked the way they are? Why did Walt do that with his Imagineers? I'm not going to tell you. Look it up, okay? Start to explore Disneyland, okay? Remember, okay? And if not, here's my friend, Jerry. He does these lovely videos, Theme Parkology, that talks to you about these attractions at Disneyland. Themeparkology.com. You know, they're not expensive. You get to talk to people who are in the know and get to learn more about a park that is truly magical and is home to all of us. Okay. Understand that it wasn't easy for a man to build this dream. Walt didn't have it easy. He had to put up his house. He had to do a lot of talking, a lot like George Lucas, who tried to create Star Wars. It took him a lot. He walked around. He didn't give up. These are two never give up guys. Let's respect them. Let's not diss them. I'm not really thrilled with George for the first 3 movies of Star Wars, 1, 2, and 3. I hate him. But by the same token, I love him for 4, 5, and 6, and I'll always love him for 4, 5, and 6. Changed my life, and I got to tell him so. So please, just if you don't like it, keep it to yourself. I'm not saying you have to love Disneyland, but if you find Disneyland doesn't reach you, you don't need to tell everybody it doesn't reach you. Just can't say anything nice. Don't say it. That's all I have to say about that. Don't say it. Wow, Michelle, did you open a can of worms? Agree 100%. Hi, Richard. Good to see ya. Barbara says, I love that aspect of walking in Walt's footsteps of his vision. Yeah, and you can only do it in one park. And last time I looked, that park is in Anaheim, California. Joe Penny says, render unto Star Wars, that which is Star Wars. Render unto Disney, that which is Disney. So what he is saying is, yeah, it would have been great to put Star Wars in the California Adventure Park. I think it could have really rocked over there on that side of the fence. I just think it would have done better. I really do. I think it is a better fit. Just my opinion. Yeah. Joseph says, I visited Walt's Barn years ago and hope to visit it again. Yeah, it's wonderful. That's where the real deep train enthusiasts are. And if you don't know much about trains, yours truly, that's where you learn. You get to hear it. And what's not more fun of hearing it from someone who loves it than reading about it? I love reading, but I love storytelling. I love hearing it from people. I love seeing their face and their eyes sparkle when they talk about something they love. It means a lot to me. So, yeah. Jacob says, forgive me, but I think Disney is getting too IP filled. I get it's for the new generation, but there's nothing classic for longtime fans like me who grew up watching Disney on tapes and regular TV. I agree. And I've told people, get your DVDs while you can, guys. Grab those silver DVDs that, what were they called? The Disney Classics collections, where you could get the Alice comedies when Walt wasn't Walt Disney, when Walt Disney wasn't the Walt Disney. Grab those silver boxes. Start to build your DVD collection, because subscriptions are going to get more and more expensive and more individualized. And before you know it, you'll be spending $100 a month to get all the content you used to get on a DirecTV or a Dish network. Right? Now, Netflix is being really smart. They're creating their own content, but they're creating their own content to stay in the game. But if you get your DVDs, you can create your own playlist. Doesn't mean you shouldn't subscribe. I'm not saying that, because you got other things you can't make in the But if you love certain movies, get your DVDs now so that you can create your own playlist in case it starts to get too expensive to have every channel you'd like to have subscription-wise. Yeah. That's my piece of advice for there. And you're absolutely right, Jacob. I would love to see more classic stuff. Yes, indeed. Roku TV has done something really good. I have a Roku system, and I got to see the first season of Bewitched, and that was so much fun. I just really flipped over that. So you can find the older shows. You just got to dig a little to see them. And I have one of my favorite shows is Kung Fu with David Carradine. And so I have all 3 seasons. And so I do my own playlist, and that just runs in the background over and over and over again, because I love that. I love the attitude, the spirit, and the moral of it. Hey, Bruce Willis. Let's see. I will say that Google and YouTube have been my friends throughout college. I took up tutorials, programs. Yes, exactly. These guys are on it. YouTube is just fantastic to me. You can learn anything. You can experience new things, and you can meet people who are just so impressive. I've talked about 1000 before. I got to get back to my class with him. And thank good I have it all the time because I'm so busy right now. January and February, two of my busiest months. But then I say that about every month, I think. But anyway, but I do want to get back to the painting. He's helping me to design my own characters, and I'm looking to create my own style in painting and drawing, like I do with. I draw pretty my own style when it comes to dragons, but I want to do more. I want to create more characters that when you look at it, you go, "Ooh, a Terri Hardin," you know. So he's kind of helping me get there, helping my mind to get there. I don't think I'll get there in one class, but he really is putting my feet upon the path. And if you haven't seen his artwork, it's beautiful. Check it out, 1000 on YouTube. He's a brilliant young person. And we can't, as older people, dismiss the young, because the young are up and coming, and they just do stuff that just boggles the mind. And I love learning from younger people. So all ages, I love learning from all ages, but younger people have that fire, you know, like I have. So you're right, Jacob, you're right. Hey, Bruce Willis. What is bas relief? Bas relief is when you take something flat. So let me show you my castle. This piece I did for the Disneyland 60th anniversary. It's a plaque that's 9 inches tall, only a 1/4 inch thick. But bas relief is creating dimension in a small area. The back is flat and you sculpt forward, you sculpt into it. This almost put me in the hospital. I don't know why I do this. So the castle you see has dimension. Indiana Jones. What this piece is, it's still available. It's $300. You can see it on my website. Go to online store and you can find it. It's numbered to 200, but they are sculpted. I did it in wax, so let me show you the wax for it. There's the wax. So here it is, all in wax, all sculpted, but you can see it has dimension, but it's done on a flat surface. So all of this is occurring in a 1/4 inch. And you could actually lay a ruler on top. It doesn't extend past the borders of it. So this was for the 60th because I didn't like the 60th anniversary merchandise. I hated it. I think 1 or 2 things I liked, but most of it I thought was a China garage sale. And I was very sad that Disney had done this for our 60th. So I created an heirloom that you guys can collect for $300. You can collect this and hand it down. It's numbered. There's only 200. I think I have about 70 left, and I cast them as needed. They're casted and painted as needed, so I don't have a huge inventory, but you can order it, and I can, pull it up and make it. But this represents 60 years of Disneyland. It is the Disneyland Castle, and it is 6 attractions that each attraction represents a decade Disney has been. So the railroad was in 1 decade, Small World was another decade, Big Thunder was another decade, Indiana Jones, Buzz Lightyear, and Splash Mountain, of course, has to be Splash Mountain. So anyway, each one of these represents a decade, all sculpted. Took me a very long time. And then it's painted. And a lot of you helped me to decide the colors. You helped me to decide which attractions. I actually got to tell you, I don't know this well enough. All right. So I went to Dusty Sage of Mice Chat, who is very, very knowledgeable about all things Disney, and sat with him as he helped me to populate those diamonds, Diamond Anniversary and the diamonds. So it's a very beautiful piece. It's only 9 inches tall from the top of the turret of the castle to the tip of the diamond at the bottom underneath the Splash Mountain, underneath the Small World boat. And it's only about 1/4 inch, maybe 3/4 inch thick. No, 3/8 of an inch thick, not 3/4. So it's only about if I go back here to me, it's only about let me use this hand. My mermaid can help. Only like that. Thick, but it has all this dimension. So that's bas relief. When you go to places like Paris or Switzerland, even here in Burbank, we have several plaques that have that dimension. That is called bas relief. Okay. And it's a great way to sculpt, but it can put you in the hospital. And I did it in wax, and it was exhausting, and this took me a long time to make. But it created an heirloom for those of you who wanted to celebrate the 60th, and it's still available. But it's a real beautiful piece, and I thought that it did just what you guys wanted. The reason it's only 9 inches tall is because some of you wanted to put it on your bookshelf, and the average bookshelf is 12 inches tall. So I wanted to make sure it fit, or it has a little hole in the back. You can actually hang the plaque up on your wall if you want to. So it had both, but that's what it is. Thank you for the question, Darren. Jacob says, I have to use Adobe software, and I would say a 96% knowledge of it all. Good. You're using it better than I am. I'm just so thankful to live in a time like this. All the technology, it's wonderful, and it's a wonderful thing. It is. It really is. We just don't want to get, the practical is good too. And I love to see how people managed at a time when they did not have technology, movies and films and things like that. Like we were talking about it yesterday. We don't want to see Star Wars redone. The first 3, 4, 5, and 6, where they redo the dewback so they move. We knew the dewback didn't move. We didn't care. It was cool. Things like that, because we appreciate the movie for what they couldn't do as well as what they could. And then later, as they progress, we see what they could do. So for me, I would just like you not to go back and redo the movie, just unless you're going to leave me with the original, which is what I want. So in Kung Fu, there is a episode in, I think it's first season, that is called Heart of a Warrior. And it's when Kwai Chang Caine jumps into a pit with rattlesnakes. Now, those of you who saw Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones is thrown in and he becomes face to face with a cobra, there was a piece of glass between the actor, Harrison Ford, and this extremely lethal snake. But in Heart of a Warrior, there is no glass. And someone, I won't tell you it's David Carradine, but someone is walking amongst those snakes. They are not CG. I would imagine a couple of them in the background could be rubber, but the ones that are by his legs are the real thing. Now, some people said that animals weren't protected very well. They could have been de-venomed or defanged. But the fact is, if you've ever been hit by something like this snake, it makes a welt. It hurts. The power of which a snake hits you if they want to bite you creates an egg-sized bump. So I'm sitting there thinking, loose jeans, probably a protective leather underneath to protect the guy from getting bit with fangs, devenomed or not venomed or whatever. But the snake, I'm telling you, that sequence with the snakes, knowing it's not CG, you wonder, did they keep it cold? Because as you know, reptiles move a lot more sluggishly, more sleepily if they're cold. But unfortunately, back in the days of Kung Fu, they didn't really talk too much about behind the scenes. There are a few episodes that David Carradine speaks about on the discs, but he doesn't talk about that one. And I wish I had had the opportunity. I met him actually, but didn't really have a chance to have a conversation. And I didn't know the episodes well enough to ask him. But hindsight being 2020, I would have loved to have asked him how they did that snake shot. Because every time I watch it, I'm glued to my set. Because there is no CG, there is no technology. So Jacob, for all the beautiful technology there is, practical is chilling some of the things they did. Okay, chilling. Some of the things that the stuntmen do, some of the things that they were a part of, some of the things that did not quite go right, something practical in the practical world, unbelievable. Just watch the chariot race in Ben-Hur. There is no CG because it didn't exist. It didn't exist. Those are real charioteers and real people getting hurt. And that is an amazing thing. Watch the chariot race and say, there is no CG. It is dangerous, it is scary, and it is amazing. So you got, watch it with your technologically driven eyes and understand didn't exist. How did they accomplish it? And you will have a greater respect for the earlier movies. Movies like 10 Commandments, where they part the Red Sea, technologically amazing. War of the Worlds, technologically 1956, I think. Technologically amazing. Holds up today when technology was rocky. Yeah, really cool. Great way to watch movies. Is it any wonder I'm such a movie freak? I always stay at the Hilton Tokyo Bay, much cheaper than you'd expect to pay for here, and Joseph, on that loop to get you to the park. It's not like you're ostracized over here. You're part of the circle. And the Hilton's a beautiful hotel, and you can still go visit the other two hotels. Okay, you can visit, well, 3 now, right? Tokyo has 3. They got a brand new one that I haven't seen yet. That was built a while back. I just haven't been to Tokyo in a while. Yeah. It's wonderful, wonderful. All on that. This is so smart. I'll bet you those are some tasty snacks. Yeah, well, they're protein snacks. Okay, what I'm eating is trying to get a little protein in so that I can actually have a real meal after I'm done here. Oh, yeah, that book. Yeah, that book. I met Ward Kimball briefly back in 1979 at Cal State Fullerton, says Joe Penny. After hearing him speak at the retrospective of his career, I remember seeing his non-Disney independent short film, Escalation, which is hilarious and a bit racy. Yes, indeed. Ward Kimball. What a love. What a love. Good man. Good man. Love trains. Love trains. Can't wait to talk and celebrate him because he loved trains. Oh, you guys are full of voice today. I'm going to have to cut off at 3 hours, but we'll keep going. You've had an extraordinary life, Terry. You'll meet Clint Eastwood one day. Thank you, Joseph. I hope so. You know, somebody told me a place that he hangs out in Carmel and told me just to go up there. But I think what I'll do is call and tell them my desire, and maybe we can meet up there. You know, I think I'm going to call them and ask them if they have any heads up. Maybe they'd call me and let me know, and I'll shoot up there, and maybe they could let him know how I feel. You know, communicate, maybe get a message to him. So that's what I'm going to do. And I thank them for sharing that with me. I think you need to be named a Disney legend. Yes. And a Star Wars Superman. Yeah. Aren't we all? Yeah, we are. We are, right? Thank you, Joe. What a sweetheart. Just ate it. Joe, that's one of the things that made a great impression on me. The kinetic energy, so amazing. Yeah, we're a group. We are a killer group of amazing people. South Pass is self-built. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah. And I'm sure I taught them, you know, because back in the day, if you look at old, and I think you can see old float reels before 1996, you'll notice that the faces are faceted and pretty awful on self-builts. And I couldn't stand it anymore. So when I saw that the city of Burbank had one, and I had just gotten in the town, I offered my services and sculpted a dog for the 1990 float, which was called Reach for the Wind. And they went crazy for that dog. They thought it was going to be some housewifey popsicle stick and bubblegum thing. And it was actually a replica of a Dalmatian. And the woman cried, and everybody just got so excited that they wanted to do a float. So that's one, Michael. Bazinga. Bob, you're great. I spent many New Years with green thumbs and monkey glue on my clothes from working on the floats. Exactly. It's fun. You know, if you want to talk, you know, if you want to see a float decorator cringe, say these words: Silverleaf. Silverleaf, one of the most unfriendly plants in the world. And when you want to do whales or dolphins, it turns out to be the thing you've got to cover it in. It just really looks good. But, oh, Lord, you better be wearing gloves. But if you want to see a float decorator cringe, say the words Silverleaf. I love the day after Valentine's Day. I can buy 60 pieces of chocolate. There you go, Evan. Evan's got it. Evan knows what I mean. Evan knows what I mean. And I love to share and give it away. Absolutely, Evan. Absolutely. You know, who doesn't love chocolate? Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, that was supposed to say blend. Just kidding. You guys are adorable. I'm from New York City, but Disneyland, California, Tokyo Disney Seas will always be my 2 favorites. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Tokyo Disney Seas, I don't know if you know this, but the Imagineers were sitting with Japan, and Japan said, what would you do my dear Imagineers, if we just gave you a blank check and said, go build your park, and that is Tokyo Disney Seas. So if you haven't seen it, imagine you cut an artist loose and they get to build a park in their vision. Now, Tokyo had to oversee it a little bit, but they wanted to see what they come up with. And Tokyo Disney Seas is what the Imagineers came up with a blank check. See, that's Japan for you. Winnie the Pooh, which I was told was the best ride. And I was like, what? And then I went and saw it. And I could have lived there, honestly. And the Imagineers came to them with a price. Let's say the price was $13 million for the ride, and this is Japan for you. Japan said, "What can you do if we give you $21 million?" Okay, so the Imagineers, unlike other places that cut your budget. Okay, you are 100% right. We are the original, and we are proud of it. Okay, wow, check out 5. There's nothing like walking through the tunnel at Disneyland and feeling Walt's presence. Absolutely. We don't want to lose that. We don't want to lose that. We don't. We don't want to lose the ambassadors, the guides who take us through and tell us the history and tell us the story from their voice. We don't want to lose those plaid people in the little hats and the riding, the little crop. We love those people. Check out Terry, ready to cut someone for Disney World. I don't know if I'll cut you, but I certainly will give you an earful. And I'm not alone, guys. I'm not alone. I grew up going to Orlando. I would choose Disneyland any day over WDW. It has more heart. That's very sweet of you to say, Richard. And the cast members take pride, not always the case in Florida. But there are people in Walt Disney World that take pride in Florida. I will tell you that there is a restaurant in Florida that my friend John took me to that I have got to go to every time I'm in Florida. And that is Animal Kingdom's Yak and Yeti. I have had more fun, more thrills, more chills, more wonderful experiences at Yak and Yeti that I can't miss it. And I always got to sit at the bar. I love the cast members there. I love the bartenders there. It's a party. The food is fresh and delicious and just wow. I love that he took me there, surprised me, and I just go gaga for Yak and Yeti. And of course, the Tree of Life. I would have loved to have been someone who had my little paws on there sculpting a portion of the Tree of Life. I've even thought about recreating it as a sculpture because I'm just so impressed with the beauty of the Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom. I just think it's fantastic. Epcot is my favorite park. I love to have breakfast in Paris, lunch in Japan, and dinner in China. Or I'll switch it around a little bit, but I like that very much. I love visiting all over Epcot. I am talking mostly the World Pavilion. That's where I love to stay. The other side I like, but I love the World Pavilion because Disney and all their detail brought people from Norway to do Norway, Mexico to do Mexico, Paris to do France, so you get to meet people who have lived in these countries that Epcot represents. And I love it. So I honestly, Richard, love each park for what they bring. Okay. And I just don't think that Walt Disney World is qualified to be the hub for Disneyland. They don't understand it as well. And it's a different clientele. It really is a different clientele on the East Coast. They're a lot more demanding of their characters than I find the Walt Disney East Coast side. Doesn't mean that the East Coast side isn't demanding. It just means there's more of them on the West Coast. So as a sculptor, I have a little more freedom if I sculpt for Walt Disney World than I do if I'm at Disneyland. And I have to know if the piece is gonna appeal, that I have to consider both parks as individuals, not clump them together as a unit. Nobody likes to not be individual. They're both need to be treated as special. They used to have a Segway tour. I don't know if they have that anymore, where you could Segway early in the morning through the World Pavilion. And so much fun while getting a guided tour by the Segway teacher person. It's just cool. Yeah. I mean, but I'm with you. Some cast members are like you say, but you'll find a couple of them at Disneyland too, but they don't last very long. Okay, because again, like I'm saying, the Disneyland people want they have demands that Walt Disney World is a little more laissez-faire with. Okay, but at Disneyland, I'm telling you, you better be into what you're offering, what you're doing. So you're right. I love Walt. Just wanted to say that right here. I wanted to say that right here, says Michelle. At Disneyland, Walt comes alive before my very eyes, and I can walk with him there. Exactly. Exactly. You can stand in the places he stood. You know, every time you see the swans in the water, you know he's the one who originally put them there. Okay? And when you hear that whale sing, he wanted that. Okay? And then find out about those sculptures above the well if you don't know about them. There's a lot of stuff like that all through the park. A lot of it. I've always been told you'll hate Disneyland. It's so tiny, says Angie. You'll be disappointed. Listen to Your Love Makes Me Want to Book a Trip Today. Thank you, Angie. It's all in how, you know what I mean? It's all in how you approach something. You may have heard that Imagineering isn't the best place to work because they don't pay. Disneyland doesn't pay, blah, blah, blah. As an Imagineer, they pay in different ways, okay? Were they my highest paying job? No. But was it one of the most fun jobs I've ever had in my life? Yes, yes, yes. It still is today. Yes, yes, yes. Okay? But it pays in different ways because it is Disney Imagineering, the creators of the parks. And everybody knows and loves people who work with Disney. You know, is Disney all roses you working for it? No, of course isn't. But if you look at the glass half full, you're going to have a great time. You're going to have a lot of fun there working for them. Okay? I love working for them and with them to create the stuff you love. But part of that is you guys and your love for it. Okay? So people who are saying that, again, they didn't study, they don't understand what Disneyland is. Okay? Walt Disney World could create a walk in what we thought would be Walt's footsteps had he lived event for you. But there at Disneyland, we create the walk in Walt footsteps, period, end of story. Okay? You get to go to places like his apartment. Okay? And in the tribe, again, this is not just a commercial. This is because you can actually hear from people like Connie tell you what Walt was really like because people like Connie knew him. Okay? And we don't have a lot of opportunities to speak with people who knew him, but we do here. We do. And that is priceless. Priceless. I never got to meet him. Never. But one of my favorite stories is from my friend and one of the creators of The Little Mermaid, Philo Barnard, as he talks about sitting on Walt's lap, holding a cup of pencils and chatting with Walt because his father was a background artist, Imagineer, an animator, an illustrator, like Claude Coates. Yeah. Telling you, a lot of it happened West Coast. That's where it came. That's where the idea happened. That's where the idea grew. And that's where the idea continues to evolve. And those of you that are kind of worried about Disney Imagineering moving to Florida, don't think it's going to stay there. Remember the animators who were all moved over to Florida in the early years. Guess where they're back? They're back here with their own building. So don't get depressed yet. Let's see if it sticks. Because a lot of times it does not. I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying don't think that's the final chapter because the chapter is just beginning. Thank you for that. Yes, Angie, you come and we'll really show you the town. There's nothing like that feeling of walking through the tunnel at Disneyland and feeling Walt's presence as you enter. There's nothing like working out the back of the castle. There's nothing like riding Peter Pan's flight or Mr. Toad's Wild Ride here. There's nothing like going to City Hall and getting a phone call from Goofy. There's nothing like being in Club 33 and experiencing that area and understanding what it means. And according to Connie, there's nothing like standing in that apartment, which when you walk in Walt footsteps, you get to be in that special apartment that Walt created. I've never been, but hearing the stories from all of you, is like I've been there. And some of the stories that you share are so touching. You cannot do this anywhere else. You cannot. You meet some of the people who worked early at Disneyland and they point to certain areas in Disneyland. And so that area right there used to house da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, you cannot do it at a Walt Disney World, guys. Walt had this up there. Walt used to have this over here. Walt thought about this down here because Walt was here only. So he wanted so bad to be a part of Walt Disney World. That wasn't in the cards. So people that tell Angie that it's a waste of their time, they don't get it. And we're happy that you don't, because you won't come back. Truth teller. Thank you, Raul, whatever that means. And whoever that is. 19 special editions, 1997 special editions overdid it. I have the D-specialized edition, which is perfect for OG fans like us. Yeah, I'm telling you, they're great, and these are good too. The Theme Parkology DVDs that Jerry Cornell does are really good as well. I'm so sorry about my comment about Disney 2 IP. I hope it did not very, very, very. Oh, Jacob. No. Come here. Okay, so wait a minute, Jacob. It offended the wonderful, talented, artistic people. No. Jacob, you're right to your opinion. That's why we live in the U.S. Okay? You didn't say, you just thought it was overfilled. You didn't say you thought it was garbage. Okay? You didn't say it was garbage. You just thought there was a bit too, the weight of it is imbalanced. At least that's the way I interpreted it. Somebody can post in the comments if they thought they were being dissed, but I didn't see that from you. I don't think that at all. Don't. I think it's sweet of you to say you're sorry, but you have the right to your opinion. You know, like I talked about the Genie Pass. I really dissed the Genie Pass. Holly knows that if she has a different opinion, as long as she doesn't get personal with me, you know, call me names or anything, she has a right to her opinion. I don't care if it's, you know, completely different from mine, right? Someone from Walt Disney World could come on and say, you know, I think you're wrong, Terry. I think you're overselling Disneyland. That's their business. Okay, if that's what they feel. And I'm not going to tell them they're an idiot because they feel that way. That's a personal comment. You don't do that. You don't attack the person's integrity. You just let the person have their opinion and say, I respect your opinion. I just respectfully disagree. Okay, so you're cool. You're fine, Jacob, all right? Don't worry about that. Ben-Hur Chariot Race was high point of the career of stunt masters like Yakima Canute. Yeah, I'm telling you, if you haven't seen that movie, guys, just remember no CG, right, Joe? Nada. It's chilling. It's very chilling. There's a reflection of the cobra that you can see. But are we sad? Are we sad when we see that reflection? We certainly do not want Harrison Ford opposite a king cobra and no glass, do we? We are perfectly happy to see that reflection. Are we not? We want the actor to be more important than the snake. We love the snake, but we love Harrison Ford. We don't want him to be killed. Okay? So, mwah. I love that reflection. Thank you. I think they probably did it on purpose so we wouldn't be that afraid, you know, who take their time making, create all the amazing stuff. I'm sorry for this stuff. My comment, so very, very sorry. Like I said, that's not the way I read it. Okay. Like I said before, you got the Spider-Man experience over in California Adventure in the new Avengers. You got to be careful because you don't want the whole park to become, you know, you got to have these vision glasses. Okay. That kind of a park isn't going to work for me right now. I don't mind having little bits of it because it's a new experience. It's fun, but let's not overdo it. Okay. That's what I'm saying. So I think you bring a good point, Jacob. I don't think you dissed anyone. You just gave your opinion and you have a right to do that. Look at him. He's really sad. Don't worry, Jacob. You're fine. You're fine. Everybody tell him he's fine. You know, you weren't insulted. Tree of Life. Yes, please. Oh, you want me to do one? That could be a little bit of an investment, but I'd love to recreate that sculpture. I thought of maybe making it this big, but that might be too small. It may have to be more in this range. We'll talk about it, Diane. We'll talk about it because I really would love to do it. I missed out on the original tree, so I would love to be a part of recreating that tree for collectors. Later on Yakima, he was John Wayne's favorite stuntman double. Yeah. And that was the time when actors actually allowed stuntmen to do their job. Now the actors want to do their own stunts, which makes the insurance for a movie go, wah! Which is why you're paying so much, because Tom Cruise doing his own stunts may look better, but the insurance goes, wah! Because if we have any damage to someone like Tom Cruise or those that do their own stunts, it can be very bad. So not that a stuntman isn't expendable. A stuntman spends their entire life learning and perfecting their craft, which is what? Stunts. So I always said if I was an actor, I'd always let a stunt person do my stunts because they're the professionals. And I don't want to take anything from the professionals. If you need me to start it and the stuntman to finish it, fine, if you need that shot. But I don't think that should be the norm. I think you need to realize that stunt professionals do it all their life. They're probably the kid that jumped off the barn and broke their leg in the beginning, okay? Or they didn't break their leg and said, hey, this is fun, okay? I was married to a stuntman. It was his life. He loved it. I didn't like it so well watching him, but it was his whole life. I've known several people in the stunt industry. They're the pros. They know. And I remember one stunt woman who, very brilliant, did the stunt of riding down the wagon in the barn for Little House on the Prairie. The Melissa Gilbert. She's small enough she could do that. And she said it's the simple ones, like slipping on the floor in the bathroom, that can really cripple a stunt person. It's the ones that look really simple that can be the most devastating to them, because they practice really hard for the big ones. Like if you're falling the 13 floors off a building or something, they really rehearse it and restudy it and do it. But I am all for stunt people doing what they do, which is stunts. So it's very challenging to have it's very hard for the production company to have the actor do the stunts. Some companies like that because they don't have to worry about, making it look a certain way so that they don't see that it's not the actor. But the point is that then you've protected your actor, your big commodity that's making the movie get to the end, and you're having a professional do it. In the case of Ben-Hur, that's the way it worked. Yeah. And it's incredible, as Bob says. So it's amazing, as they are all saying. One of my fondest memories visiting Walt's apartment. It's truly very moving. Yeah, I want to do it sometime. Connie said she might work that out for me, and I would really love to do that. I think it would be great if we all got together and maybe could go to Walt's apartment, and I think it would be sweet if she, if that's becomes a possibility. But that's not why I love Connie. I love Connie because she shares her stories with us, because she was one of the chosen few that got to be opposite Walt, and that is a big deal in my opinion. Angie says, have a great weekend. Happy to catch up. Take care. And with Angie, I'm going to say goodbye. We went 3 hours today, a little over, but I thought it was important. We were talking about something that's very, very deep. Today is Deep Friday. I'm sorry, but it happened on my Patreon page. We got into some stuff that was really really important. We dug deep, and I think we did this today too. Understand, as I wrap this up, Jacob had to write to his opinion. And if you're an IP person and you are offended, you really don't need to, because he apologized a million times. But honestly, I don't feel Jacob should have apologized. I think he has his opinion, and he did not insult anyone in his opinion. If you got insulted, he apologized, so get over it. If I offended you in any way, I have no catalytic converter on my mouth, so I up front will apologize all the time. I'm always going to tell you exactly like it is, and if it pings you wrong, let me know. I am sorry in advance. I just speak my mind. That's what this channel is about. You may not learn how to be a better YouTuber, but if you like what you hear, subscribe. If you don't, get off my lawn. Um, I'd love for you to still stay. You don't have to subscribe to stay. Seriously, I'm just teasing. But you all have a wonderful weekend. I love and care about each and every one of you. If you loved Walt Disney World more than Disneyland, okay. But please understand that you don't have to diss it and offend others. Okay. No reason to say things about, if you can't say anything nice about either parks, then don't say it. I have always been an advocate for putting the Star Wars attraction, Galaxy's Edge, not in Disneyland. I've always thought it should be over in California Adventure, but that's because I would like to preserve Walt. So that's me. But if you feel differently, it's not that I don't love that land. I love that land. So don't understand that. But the point is just these are my opinions and your opinions, and I think you did great. Okay, I love you, love you, love you. Episode of AMA was directed by Cecil B. DeMille. Isn't Joe on it today? He's on fire today. Yeah. Okay. Thank you much, Terry. Love you all. See you next Friday. Love you all. See you next Friday, or see you Monday if you want to pop in and see what I'm up to. That's our Terry. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? We say in the same. Bob, you're in your rare good form today too. Mwah! I love you all. Do something nice for someone else. Bob Burdine, Rose Burdine, and many like them will tell you it'll make you feel a whole lot better. Hugs, loves, have a fabulous weekend. Look at this. Look at all this yummy stuff. Okay? We'll see you soon. Be well.